glasses.
Hit it. Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Or just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does a positive rear end on a Plymouth work? It just does.
Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Drive Radio. And some of you that are watching on our YouTube channel, if you are watching, I should say, you kind of see the activity going on in here. We're always kind of running around right before the show starts and doing all sorts of things. And I was a little late getting down. I shouldn't say late. I mean, I'm here more than enough time to get the show done, but we have things we set up before we get going. In the mornings, I've got the camera to set up for YouTube, and I got stuck in some traffic on 225. I mean, is anybody else besides me tired of every road in this city being tore up? Matt's raising his hand. Larry's raising his hand.
Yeah. Well, isn't that? I think we're still in the stimulus package, right? Isn't that why we got all this tore up?
It must be, because there is. I mean, there isn't a road that I travel, anyways. Maybe somebody else does, but there isn't anything I travel that isn't tore up somewhere.
Right. And it's always seems like they tear it up on both ends in the middle, the same road. They just can't.
I go to get on 36 today, and of course I'm up in the Boulder area, so I'm getting on at the Louisville exit. So I'm going to get on I call it the turnpike. Sorry, I'm old. I've been around a long time. US 36. I'm going to get on the turnpike, and they all of a sudden have the exit, the on-ramps closed.
Right.
And I'm like, nice, no signage, no nothing, just got coned off. I'm thinking, you got to be you morons. Really?
Well, you know what bothers me about it is they'll go through and they'll pave it and get it all nice and smooth. About 2 weeks later, they come in and they re-tear it up because they got to put a pipe through there.
You know what that costs, by the way?
Yeah.
A fortune.
Yeah.
Every time they do that, because I know what paving and concrete costs. It's an absolute fortune every time they do that.
Exactly.
So, anyways, hey, Drive Radio. You can hear from my guests that, we're in studio. I'm your host, John Rush. Dennis Brewster from Extreme is with me. Ray Seidel from Four Seasons. We were going to be out at the Napa store in Castle Rock, which, by the way, they still have a big open house going on. Head down there, listen to us on the way, listen to us while you're there if you want to. Dennis, what all's going on down there?
Well, they got a lot of stuff going on. I think they knocked off almost all their parts, 20%.
Okay.
And we're going to have Michael Pelly call in.
Okay. Perfect.
And he'll tell us what's going on. But I think they have free food, they have some giveaways, and it's going on, pretty much most of the day. It's a good time if you need parts, get down there, even buy oil or antifreeze or whatever you need. Some stuff that you can use that you can put on the bench for a little bit,
And let me explain to all of you listening, some of you I know had plans to go down there today, see us, all that, and
right.
I apologize that this was not their fault. There was a little bit of miscommunication, but the real reason that we're not down there is I got sick this past week and really didn't start feeling better until late yesterday afternoon, and so we had a lot of things that were up in the air, not really knowing if, at this point in time, I'm the only guy that can run the remote equipment, so yes. I got to get some guys trained, which I'll start working on. I realized after this week that, wow, I got to get that fixed, so we'll start training and getting some other folks that can handle a remote by themselves, my son included. I think he could do a lot of that if I just get him out and kind of show him how to do it. I think
we've been around, Ray and I, been around enough.
Yeah, I was thinking if I had Richard trained enough to run the equipment, you guys could have hosted, and either way we'd have had it done. But somebody needs the basic understanding of how all the equipment works.
The only part I don't understand is the phone call yet, to how to
get back to the station and all that.
That's about the only part. I mean, everything else we can set up.
That's exactly right.
I was around. And the other problem is to get up to Boulder from Parker.
To get all the stuff, yeah.
To get all the stuff to come back. That's like a day trip.
That's right. That's where if I can get my son to assist, I think we'll get. Anyways, I'll start working on it. But I apologize that this wasn't anybody's fault. I ended up with a really bad infection this past week. I went out to Universal Lubricants. We did a big tour. Did some videography while we were there, did a bunch of interviews, had a great time. We'll talk about some of that on the show today. But while I was there, started to get sick, and by the time I got home, I was a wreck. And
well, we're glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I'm much better than I was on Thursday. I can function, so.
Well, when I talked to you on the phone, you were like not.
Yeah, I was not feeling
good. Yeah.
I was not feeling well. So, anyways, we're here. We want to take some calls. We want to talk to you. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. We had a lot going on last week in regards to insurance. Paul Leuenberger, our new insurance agent that's with us, did a fantastic job. Hopefully some of you got some questions answered even this past week. If not, his phone number is 303-619-9891. Just want to plug him again just in case you need something along those lines. Be sure to call him. He had great information that we gave out last week. I learned some things I didn't know. I know, Dennis, you did too. And it was like, okay, this following week I've got some work to do, and I started working on some of my own stuff.
Right.
So that's what that's all about.
Yeah, I went back with the intention of working my own stuff.
Didn't.
Yeah.
It was a 5-day, work week crammed into 4 days. That's what last week ends up being. So I don't know.
I had 4 Mondays last week.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know how everybody else's week went, but around our place, that's how it is.
Yeah, I'm laughing too.
Yeah, we're laughing now. Yesterday we were crying.
Yeah. I still have the same amount of work to do. You just got to get it done in 4 days.
Right.
So that's some of you that don't own a small business. It may be some of you that even work for somebody else that's similar to that. But when you own your own deal, there's enough stuff always going on that you just have to get done. Plus, it's month end. Plus. So you just have a lot of things you had to get done this past week, and it's just the way it works out.
Yeah.
Not complaining. That's just the life of being an owner.
You still want to do it again.
That's right. It's just, you still want that day off. So
my wife always tells me that you'd still want to do this.
That's right. Exactly. So hey, we want to talk to you. Anything you want to talk about? Oil is going to be one of our big topics today. So if you've got an oil question that always generates a lot of interest, get on early. We'll talk about it. We learned a lot this past week, 303-477-5600, and we've got a couple of surprises. I brought a little vial back with me from Universal to show people on YouTube, so I'll encourage you, get on YouTube, look at the channel, because during this first hour, I'm going to show you what base oil looks like before it ever gets any ad packs added into it. I'll show you what base oil looks like, and yeah, you're going to be surprised because I had no idea of what it actually looked like. So we'll talk about that.
Base oil, after it's been refined, they put the ad
before they put any ad packs in. I've got a little sample with me. If you want to see that, turn into YouTube and watch it, and we'll get you going. One other announcement I want to make also: we got several things going on this summer. Dennis is going to have a big garage sale, not really even an open house. It's just going to be a garage sale. He's got a bunch of stuff he's trying to sell. There's a bunch of stuff inside of our Call to Select group that guys have that they're trying to sell. There's going to be tools, equipment. You've got other things that aren't even automotive related that you're going to have out at your place on July 5th.
Right. There's going to be a lot of different things. I mean,
And we'll be there as a show.
Right. There'll be ladders. There'll be, what happens is I own a tow company, and these cars that get left abandoned before we take them to the crusher,
lots of stuff.
We clean them out because there's some good stuff in there. We found one guy all had paint supplies. I mean, so if you need paint rollers and things like that.
I got dibs on that first.
Yeah. And we got welders, 3 welders that there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. I even have trailers. For sale that day.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day. So that's one event coming up. We've got others. I try not to get too far out there in advance for you, but that's the next big event that we've got coming out. We'll talk about anything else that pops up in the meantime. If there's something you'd like us to announce, by all means, let us know, and we'll talk about it. Another special announcement that we've got is here on KLZ. There's going to be some programming changes that happen here in the very near future, actually starting Monday morning. And you'll notice some differences in the afternoon programming. One of those is I'll be on air every day from 2 to 3 p.m., and we're going to have a show called Rush to Reason. And basically, I'm just going to cover all sorts of topics that affect you, your family, your city, county, country, you name it. So it's not going to be totally political. It'll have all sorts of facets to it, and most of you know me, you know pretty much where I stand on things. I'll make it interesting and entertaining, and we'll talk about things. My goal with this, by the way, is to talk about things that really not everybody else out there is. Now, there may be some times where, yeah, it's just something we're going to have to cover because it's a hot topic, and that's just the way it is. But my real plan is to get out of some of that mainstream and talk about some things that really are not really being talked about, but yet still may affect you. So, and I may even debunk a few things that are out there. So, anyways, if there's a topic that you'd like us to talk about, by all means, send me an email. I'll get some stuff set up for that particular show this next week. I don't have that done yet. In the meantime, just email me at john@drive-radio.com. But my main goal with this is, if you're a listener of Drive Radio, listen to us during the week, 2 to 3 p.m., and we'll just continue to build that audience as we go, and it'll be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it. This is a trial that KLZ is doing with me, and we'll just see how well I do, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. It's more work, but at the end, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to enjoy it. So, guys, with that, let's get to a few phone calls. We'll take a quick break here in a minute. We'll come back, talk about some of the things at Universal Lubricants. Let's go to Jerry and Greeley first, though. Jerry, what's going on?
Well, a friend of mine has a 47 Willys flat fender that had an engine swap back in the early 70s.
Okay. What did they put in it?
They put in a Buick 225, 1968.
Very common swap back in those days.
And whoever did the wiring, I'm thinking they didn't do such a great job. It's just really sloppy. But his problem now is it cranks, but it won't start until he lets the key off, from start to run.
It needs an ignition switch.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and when I was looking at this a little bit with him, and I discovered there is not a wire between the starter solenoid and the ignition coil, and a wiring diagram indicates there should be. And if I understand it correctly, the idea of that is that you bypass the ballast resistor just during cranking.
Well, and I guess the next question would be, what distributor is in that
Right,
225? Some of those does it have a points distributor, or does it have a electronic ignition?
Yeah, it's got the old point.
Point.
Okay.
So do I have that theory down right?
It should have a ballast resistor in it, so that when it's so that you don't run a full 12 volts to the points all the time. Yes.
Right.
But during cranking, you want that.
You want the full 12 volts, correct?
So you want to bypass it by feeding the coil.
You don't have to. It just essentially helps them start a little better. That's not your problem, though.
No.
If it's starting once what you just described to me is a bad ignition switch.
Yes.
Okay. Well, and he's actually got, from the ignition switch, he turns it to the on position, and then he's got the old push button for the actual cranking.
Got it. Got it.
But it's the same function, right?
Got it. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was thinking about maybe running the wire from the solenoid to the coil.
What I would do first, this is my suggestion, and I think the guys here will agree, make it run first before you start changing any of the wiring for ballast resistors and all of that stuff. Get it running first, figure out what's happened to make it not run like it is now, and then if you want to add in a ballast resistor and do some things on the starting circuit, go for it. But don't mess with all of that until you make it run first.
Okay. Well, maybe I didn't explain that clearly, because he has a ballast resistor in there, and the thing, it's been working fine for years, but recently it's been not starting until he lets off the crank. And
and that typically means there's a problem in that starting circuit on the switch or the button or something along those lines.
Okay.
Because again, they'll start, especially in warmer weather, they'll start without having that bypass of the ballast resistor, because all you're doing is just applying full 12 volts to the points and making a little hotter spark is all you're doing when you do the bypass. So a lot of those older cars would start without that.
Right.
Okay. Well, and I took a voltage reading at that terminal on the solenoid, and it's only 9.5 to 10 volts, so I thought maybe if we took that apart and cleaned it up and then run that bypass wire, that might help. But I understand we want all the basics right.
Correct.
Anyway.
Is that 9.5 volts with the key on or in the crank position?
In the crank position.
That's what it's
pretty normal. Yep.
Yeah, it drops. Your battery voltage drops,
when you crank.
When you crank. So 9.5 volts is, right at the minimum for what it's. So you want to check it with the key on, not cranking, see what the voltage is.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
And Jerry, real quick before we go to break, one thing too, just a pointer for you. You can buy a complete new harness for that from places like Painless Wiring, or if you wanted to do a complete rewire on that, which if it's really a kind of a hack job from the beginning, you might want to do, and that would kind of clean everything up also.
Because yeah, you kind of got to get an idea of how the whole thing is wired. Right. So until you do a diagram and how all the schematics is on the wiring, you really can't isolate the problem.
That's right.
Can I also ask real quick, what
Sure.
would you set the timing at on that engine? He likes to go up in the mountains with it.
Those would run 10 to 12 degrees before top dead center at idle pretty easily, and make sure you're advanced and everything is working correctly. But you can run those with a lot of timing. Just kind of the rule of thumb back in those days where, you'd advance it until it started to ping and then back it off a little bit.
Yeah, just set it by ear.
Yeah, it really is the way you did most of those.
And again, you might have to use a little higher octane.
That's right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're very welcome. Thanks a lot, Jerry. Appreciate that. We've got one line open as all, 303-477-5600. We're going to take a quick break. Come right back. Talk to Kenny, who's got a question on new car brains. Not sure what that means. Dolores is on the phone with a new Mitsubishi shifting problem. We'll talk to both of them when we come back right after these messages here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560 The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
Napa know-how.
Now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts, and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Need a one-stop auto repair solution in northern Colorado? At Fort Collins 4x4 Center, they service and maintain more than just 4x4s. From diesel pickups to economy cars, their team of service specialists and technicians have the computer diagnostics, tools, and expertise to service and repair any make or model. They combine their skills with integrity, giving you the best service in the industry. From preventative maintenance to major repairs, you can trust your vehicle to Fort Collins 4x4, located just a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock. They're open Monday through Friday, 7:30 until 5:30, with convenient shuttle service and after-hours drop. If you're ready to form a solid relationship with an auto repair shop, the new owners at Fort Collins 4x4 are committed to providing the professional and personal service you're looking for. Give them a call at 970-482-5500. 970-482-5500. Check them out on the web at FortCollins4x4.com or follow them on Facebook at FortCollins4x4.com.
All right, and we're back. Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush. And real quick, before we get into some of our callers, Michael Pelly, Dennis's cohort, is with us. So let me bring him right up. Michael, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, not too much, guys. How you doing?
Doing great. Tell us what's going on down at your store today and what the folks can expect if they come down and see you.
You bet. You bet. Well, we wanted to invite everybody out. We're doing our grand opening at our new Castle Rock location. We got a lot of great things going on. We're going to be giving away a toolbox. Retail values at $869. We got a NASCAR simulator, and this thing's pretty cool. It looks just like a NASCAR.
Yeah, cool.
We're going to be giving away gift cards for the 4 fastest times. So for those who come out, give it a race. See if you can get the fastest time. We're going to give $100 out to the first prize, $50 to the second, and third and fourth are going to get $25.
Awesome.
Wow.
Very cool. Sounds like. What's your address down there, Michael? Because we have not given out yet.
Sure. The address is 165 Caprice Court, Unit C. And if you're coming down the interstate, you'll see us right off the interstate. You'll see the NASCAR sitting out there. You take exit 182. You'll hang it right on Wolfenberger. It's the first right. You'll head north to Caprice Court, and we're just down the street from there.
Awesome. That's awesome. And just so everyone listening knows, because we have people that tune in differently every single week, this is a brand new store that you guys built down in Castle Rock to handle all the things that are going on down in that neck of the woods, right?
You bet. Brand new, really nice. We got a lot more room in this new store. Another thing we got going on, when you come in, we'll give you a free 5-gallon bucket. Everything you can fit in that 5-gallon bucket, you'll get 25% off.
Awesome.
Wow, 25% off.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool. All right. Well, we'll keep talking about it, Michael. And I tell you what, if you can, why don't you call us back around right after the noon hour, and we'll get a recap of how things are going and keep sending folks your way.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, Michael. Thanks very much for calling in. We appreciate it. So yeah, Napa store, brand new store in Castle Rock, Colorado. A little bit south. Just head down and have a good time.
When you make that turn, that's Caprice that you're going to turn on, and then you go down to Caprice Court.
Got it.
But their store used to be right there, and it was so small that they outgrew it, and that's why they needed this bigger store. And I mean, I'm telling you, if you go in there, it's amazing.
Awesome. We'll go down and have a good time.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. Kenny is next. Kenny, welcome. What's going on today?
Thank you for taking my call. A couple of years ago, I've got a 99 Nissan Quest. A couple of years ago, it quit running. I thought it might have been a timing belt. And because it had never been thing, and I had over 100,000 miles on it. But my brother, who was a mechanic back when, he can't work on these newer vehicles because it's all electronic and everything. Well, he called this thing, the brain was the problem that I had. Now, I'm asking, does the brain, will that affect the shifting? Because my car shifts hard, and I don't want to soak money into my car unnecessary. Meaning, if it's the brain, I don't want to get a transmission flush, or I don't want to do anything else like that.
Well, the computer, that's the brain of the car. It can cause it because if it doesn't see the right things happening inside there. But does the car run right now? Could you said?
Yeah, it runs, but at times it idles real sad, and it did that from the time I got it back from the mechanic.
Okay.
So you did have a timing belt, did?
No, it was just, but he called the brain. He didn't do anything with the timing belt that I remember anyway.
So did they put an ECM in it, or do you know for positive what was done?
Yeah, that sounds familiar, that ECM thing.
Okay, so they put an ECM in it, and it hasn't run right since?
Yeah, it runs, but it's kind of like if you're missing a pinion gear, a tooth on a pinion gear. It doesn't affect it all the time, but when it hits that pinion gear just right, that's when it feels funky, I'll call it.
Okay.
Well, when you're going down the road, I mean, when you step on the gas, you feel this. When do you feel? What is it doing? I mean.
Okay, I'll take off from a stop. And if I just ease into it, instead of normally not power put it down, but just take off. But if I when it's time to shift, if I let off, it'll shift smoothly. But if I keep the accelerator down, like taking off, it'll shift hard. But it doesn't shift hard all the time.
I doubt very seriously if you've got an ECM problem. That's something somebody needs to get diagnosed and looked at. And by the way, Dennis is one of our Nissan experts. What part of town are you in, Kenny?
Central Denver, basically.
I think you're worth a trip to Parker to see Dennis, just because, again, he's our Nissan expert.
Parker a lot.
Okay, great.
Parker a lot.
Then go out and see Dennis at Extreme. His guys, again, Dennis himself is a Nissan expert. They can walk you, they can walk through that vehicle and try to figure out exactly what's going on.
Is it right on Parker Road?
Give them your address.
We're on Dransfeld Road, which is 1 block west of Parker Road. And we're Dransfeld and Lincoln. Do you know where
I know where
Lowe's
Lincoln's
is?
at. I know where Lincoln's at.
Yeah, if you know where Lowe's is.
Who?
Lowe's,
the
right,
hardware store.
Yeah, we're just down from them about a half mile.
Yeah, they're just south of them, just a teeny bit.
Yeah, on the left-hand side.
Towards Lowe's, I'll
drive. If you get on the same street that Lowe's is on, drive past it, look on the left-hand side, and you'll run right into Extreme.
Behind Lowe's. You got to go behind Lowe's. That's Dransfeld Road.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I remember seeing that now.
Yeah,
Okay.
go by, see Dennis, and those guys will help you out, Kenny, and we appreciate it. One line open is all 303-477-5600. Dolores is up next. Dolores, what's going on today?
Yeah, hi. Wednesday, I was driving my new Mirage with 1,700 or 300 and something miles on it.
Okay.
And I had to stop. The light changed to red, you know, when the fire trucks go by.
Right, right.
And so I slammed on my brakes, and oh, the most horrible noise you've ever heard in your life. It's an automatic. It jumped out of drive and went through all of the gears and ended up in park, just shaking the car.
Really?
Yeah. I was only a mile or so from home, so I drove on home.
Okay.
And I called Mitsubishi in San Francisco or California, wherever, and they sent a tow truck out and wouldn't take it back to the dealership that I bought it from, but to another.
Right, whoever's closest is what they typically do.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, I'm thinking that if they repair it to any, you know, I've got a used car. I mean, you know, how is this affecting under the hood and the motor and
probably isn't, and again, until they determine exactly what happened, what caused it, I don't think I would get too nervous about anything until I really figure out what the real root of the problem was, and then from there determine, okay, what's my next step. But the reality is you've got a full bumper-to-bumper warranty. That's why you bought a new car. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. You've got a lemon law in Colorado that's going to protect you if they don't get it fixed, so I just would let them fix it, get it back, see how it works, and go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they picked it up Thursday, and so I haven't heard from them since. And I'm getting ready to drive to Kentucky in my Escort, and so they're going to have to keep it for, you know, about 10 or 12 days.
And that shouldn't be a problem for them at all. Just I would communicate with them. In fact, in most cases, a lot of those guys are open on the weekends. I'd call them today or first thing Monday, and
service department at Mitsubishi's closed on Saturday.
Okay, well, then call them first thing Monday, get kind of an update of what's going on. And again, in defense of those guys, they were cramming 5 days of work into 4 days also, like the rest of us did. So call them Monday and see what they say.
I don't think it's anything.
I wouldn't lose any sleep over it.
As I said, you know, it sounds like something in the transmission, and there's some, you know, a lot of electronics and stuff in the transmission. So, you know, it just could have been something that, you know, in the electronics, it just got out of sync.
It's only about 40 miles an hour. You know, that's the speed limit in Mississippi and Aurora.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, you know, it's something that we haven't heard about before. It's something unusual, but normally, since we went into park, I would suspect it's in the transmission. So, you know, there might be some electronics or something that have to do with the transmission.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to know if I had my hand on the gear shift when it happened. It's an automatic. I said I'd drive with two hands on the wheel.
Right. Good. Right. Good. Well, and then again, they're just asking so they can kind of figure out the diagnostics of it, to figure out where they need to start looking, etc. So give them any information that you can remember, you know, prior to that happening, and that helps the technician get through the diagnostics of it.
Okay.
All right.
It just seems like for 1,300 miles that it's just, you know.
Yep. No, it's frustrating, and I hear you. But again, that's why you buy it new, and you let them take care of it, and give us an update once you get it back, and let us know how things are working.
That's why they have the warranties, though.
That's right.
That actually, the warranty is a good thing that it happened during the warranty.
That's right.
That way, there you can get it taken care of. You don't have to
exactly
pay for
right.
it.
That's
okay. Thank you.
You betcha, Dolores. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We've got a couple lines open. 303-477-5600. Jerry's up in Greeley. He's got a question on oil. We'll have that as soon as we come back. Stay with us. I'm your host, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Ray Seidel here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source. Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment, or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
K&N's premium oil filters are very different. They make oil changes easier. K&N's wrench-off oil filters have a 1-inch nut welded on the top, so you can easily change the filter with a wrench or ratchet. And used with a Ziploc freezer bag, you can even remove a K&N oil filter with no oil spillage at all. Another great product from K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
Are you driving with a check engine light on? Has that light been going on and off? Arvada West Auto and Truck is here to help you understand what could be wrong. Our technicians are specially trained to handle warning lights. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it stores a history that helps us diagnose the problem, even if the warning light is not currently on. Don't wait until your vehicle breaks down and leaves you stranded. Call 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com, where every question is important.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
All right, and we are back. Thanks for tuning in. 303-477-5600. Been kind of a whirlwind start to the morning already. Beautiful Colorado day, by the way, 10:30 in the morning. And
this morning was gorgeous.
It was a little foggy up in the north end of town where I came from, but it has burned off, and it is absolutely fantastic Colorado day. The rain we got has made everything nice and green, and it's just gorgeous.
I was going to show you some pictures from out east coming in. Everything was all green, the fields and
awesome.
stuff. It's beautiful.
Very cool.
It's a good day to go down to and drive in that NASCAR
That's right.
deal.
Head down there to the Napa store, drive that simulator car, see if you can win some money.
Take a bucket and make sure you can pile as much stuff in
right.
as you can.
That's right.
You know,
anything at that kind of a discount's a good deal. So
I thought it was going to be just 20, and I apologize for that, but 25,
good.
man, that is good.
Right.
That bucket, they'd be going, how'd you fit all that stuff in there, Dennis?
Did you get all that in there?
Yeah.
Again, give us a call. One line open is all 303-477-5600. Jerry is up next. Jerry, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, guys. Now that you're an oil guru.
Yeah, well, we're into oil. Let's put it that way.
There we go. I've got a 99 Dodge Caravan, 3.3 liter with 241,000 miles on it. What type of oil can I start putting in it to help prolong its life a little bit more?
Have you owned this since day one?
I bought it with 33,000 miles on it.
Well, you've been doing a good job.
Yeah,
if you got that many miles on it, you're doing a great job.
What oil have you been using up to this point, Jerry?
Usually I use Penn's oil.
Okay. Have you used any of the synthetic or the long life oil or anything like that?
I have put the long life, that over 75,000.
Yep.
That's what I've been using here lately.
Perfect. I don't think I'd change if what you're
either.
doing is working. I don't think I'd change it. How often are you changing the oil?
Oh goodness, I'm telling you, it's somewhere up to 6,000-7,000 miles, to tell you the truth.
If you're doing that, you're using the long life. That means you're using a high quality oil. Make sure you're using high quality filter, of course, which we talk about all the time. But yes, if you're doing that, getting good experience with it so far, I wouldn't change a thing. Just keep on using it.
Okay, and then what do you think of that engine restore?
I'm not a big engine restore fan.
No. You don't need that.
You know, if you're doing what you've done, and you're at 240 already, don't add anything else to it. Keep using that oil that you're using and just keep trucking along.
And don't change what you're doing.
Right. Mainly not restore, it's for neglected engines. It helps clean out the sludge and stuff that's in there. So, yeah, I wouldn't even use it since you've been doing
No, if you won't, I mean, that would be more to these guys' point. If you bought a used car, high mileage, didn't know some of the history, maybe you feel like there's something inside that's kind of gummed up, maybe it's got a ring that's hanging up, something along those lines. Yeah, restore might be worth looking at that point, but we're not an advocate of doing that, just because you got high mileage.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
Help yourself.
All right, Jerry. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Rule of thumb is if it isn't broken, don't fix it. You know.
Yeah, with 240,000, he's doing something right.
That's right.
People should listen to what he's doing and do
That's
the same
exactly
thing.
right.
Yeah.
So, and again, we'll can't talk. We will keep taking your calls. One line open is all 303-477-5600. I will talk about universal oil at some point today, or universal lubricants is what I really should be calling them. So those of you looking on YouTube real quick, I'm going to hold up, and I'll just show you the camera real quick. If you can see this, and I'm guessing you can, I can look at my computer and tell you that I can.
Black.
Yeah, put some black behind it. So if you can see that little vial that I'm holding, it looks like I'm holding a vial of water.
It does.
That's how clear it is. In fact, it looks like some of the purest water you'd see because you really can't even see any color to it whatsoever. So those of you that are listening on the air and can't watch us on YouTube right now, I'm holding in my hand what Universal Oil produces out of their refinery where they re-refine waste oil. Now, they also refine, or I shouldn't say that way, they also buy virgin base stock that's refined somewhere else out of regular, crude oil, just like every other blender out there, from Pennzoil, Valvoline, you name it. They all do that same type of a method. In fact, I learned this past week that most everybody out there, unless they're refining their own product, buys their base stock from one of only a few people out there that even build base stock oil. Now, Universal, and there's some other re-refineries out there. There's about 3 of them now. Universal owns one of them. They take in about 18 million gallons of waste oil a year. They grade all of that waste oil and decide what they're going to actually use and what they're going to sell off to what they call the burner market. They then put that through their re-refining process, and they end up coming out with what I would consider, and you can actually see it in my hand here, a very high quality base stock that they now can put all of their additives in and start building. They've got 2 different weights that they pull out of the re-refinery. One they use for all of the lighter weight oils, and the other they use for all the heavier oils, like for diesels and so on. And I'll get into more of that as we go through the show, but most of us think of waste oil being used again for oil as being, so they filter some of the stuff out of it, and they might add a few things back into it, and then you're going to pour that in your car, and that doesn't work real well, but not in this case.
And see, this is this is good for our industry. This is what our industry is about. We take our old oil and we don't just throw it down the drain like people's perception is.
That's right.
Everybody is green.
That's right.
Most of we're almost forced to be green.
That's right.
Because we can't just dispose of it. We have to have a cradle to grave, basically.
That's right.
We do. We have
that.
To know.
And so do they.
Everybody has to know where we're taking our oil. So if you go into a shop and, this is what we do. We give our oil. It gets taken away by a recycler.
Shops either are recycling it or they're burning it themselves to heat their shops, one of the two. And Dennis is right, everything is cradle to grave. And in Universal's lineup, and by the way, they don't sell retail, they strictly supply us as shops, fleets, dealerships, etc. They're a big supplier in that market. So the product they make is called an eco product, which fits right along with what they're doing. So they're taking recycled waste oil, re-refine it, put it back out, and the advantage of that, hold that thought, I'll tell you in a minute what the advantage of having this base stock out of the re-refined oil is out of even virgin stock. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let's go to Jeff is next. He's been holding the longest. Welcome, Jeff. What's going on?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I have a 96 Audi A6 wagon, and my cooling fans will not come on when the engine is running unless if the air conditioning is on, the cooling fans work fine. It's got a dual fan setup. The low speed works, high speed works, everything works good. But if I don't have the AC on, the coolant fan will not come on and it overheats.
Got it.
There's a sensor in the radiator itself. I replaced that. Didn't change anything. I've checked the power. I've got like a 3-prong plug that goes into that. It's got one for the low speed, one for the high speed, and one for the ground. And I've got voltage coming, to the low speed and the high speed wires.
Yeah, but that's switched with the ground, I believe.
So the ground is check the ground.
Well, the ground is probably what's controlling that relay to make the fans come on and off.
But you have 2 fans, right?
Yeah, it's a dual fan setup.
Well, I thought one fan runs when it overheats or gets warm, and then when you turn on the air conditioner, both the fans will run.
Yeah, but neither
of these are coming on until the AC's clicked on.
Okay, so then you have a ground problem, most likely.
You need to find out what the controls.
You have to have a schematic to determine this.
Yeah. Find out what's controlling that. The fans without the air conditioner.
There might be I think there's a sensor on the head.
Right. There might be one or more sensors. You said you replaced one. Now, if that's actually the fan sensor, or was that the temperature?
It's a coolant fan sensor. Actually, it plugs into the radiator, and it's supposed to control I guess when it heats up enough, then it. So
now just keep in mind, though, all of those are just sensing signals, sending those back to the ECM. The ECM is then telling things when to light up, per se. So in other words, it's the sensors control the computer. The computer then sends a signal back out that says, "Okay, start to operate."
Yeah, and so you can have more than there could be quite a few sensors in that system.
There could be relays. There might be a relay that they're using to control that.
Yeah, and I will tell you, on a '96 Audi, you either need a good schematic or somebody that understands that car really well to get that thing diagnosed.
That's why I said with the schematic, then you can see how many sensors, where it is, how it's controlling it.
And Jeff, you're up in Longmont. Demers is right up there on North Main. Just stop by, talk to Marv, and see if he can't help you diagnose that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I just didn't sure if the relay was bad. I thought the relay was bad. I probably wouldn't be getting any current, but would it be possible if the relay is bad to still get current?
Could be.
It depends with an Audi. I mean, they might have a separate relay for the air conditioning, and they might have separate for the temperature.
There is the relay for the coolant fan relay and the AC relay are exactly the same.
One thing you could do as a do-it-yourselfer, and there's no harm done in this, and you could tell Marv you do this, is go buy a relay, put it in, and see if anything happens. If it doesn't fix it, though, then you're going to have to delve into more issues with it.
To be honest with you, you don't see a lot of relays go bad, though. That's the problem.
Not really. I just wondering, could I pull that relay? I mean, just swap the one from the AC with
you could try that, sure.
And try it. Yep. Now, should I do that if the engine's running? Can I pull the relay because there's two of them. I can't tell which one's the AC and which one's the coolant fan relay because they're both identical. And I'm having a hard time finding a diagram online to.
And again, that's where Marv does have the software, etc., where he can pull all that out.
I said, without the schematics or the diagrams and stuff,
we're all shooting in the dark.
You really don't know what you're doing. So you really need to get some information to know exactly what relays it could be separately. Fused, could be a ground circuit, could even be the computer, unfortunately.
It could be,
telling it not to turn on.
Right, so I mean, there's a lot of different things that you really need to get and start testing.
If it were me on that car, again, just stop in, talk to Marv, say, hey, listen to the guys on the show, they told me to come by, what advice do you have for me, and then kind of take it from there.
And that's Demers on
North Main.
I need to get an alignment on that.
He can do that too. Yep.
He can do the alignment on that.
Most definitely.
Talk about different people that do it just right.
No, Marv's a good guy. He's a solid owner, does a great job.
Okay, great.
All right, Jeff. Thank you very much. And make sure you tell him that you heard us here and stop in and see him. And we got a line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Jack in Golden is up next. Welcome, Jack.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for calling us.
I've got a question and then another question.
Sure.
Okay. What is the octane rating on E85?
I don't know that. Hang on, I'll try to look it up. What's your second question?
The second question is, I've got a C5 Corvette 2000, and I was wondering if that would be a worthwhile project to convert.
To E85?
Yeah.
I don't know that I would convert anything to E85 in this day and age.
I don't think there's going to be really any benefit from him. What were you trying to do, or why would you want to change it to E85?
Well, I was curious about the octane rating because some people say it's as high as 106. And, of course, that's on the internet. And I was thinking if that's the case, then you can make modifications, i.e. compression.
You can, and that is very true, and you can do that. I mean, if that's kind of the direction that you're looking at heading with the car, get more performance out of it, etc. Yes, that's definitely doable. The only thing that I think I would caution folks on today is, how long is E85 going to be rolling around? It was pushed really, really hard from the government side of the, from the environmental side of the fence. Is it going to be around in 10 years, or is it going to be E75? Is it going to be E50? Is it who knows? The problem is once some of the subsidies start to change, will it even be as widespread? I mean, it may still exist, but are you going to be able to just drive to a pump locally and pump it?
Right.
That's the biggest. That's probably a bigger factor for me personally than anything else, because the reality is there's enough other modifications you can do to that car on regular pump, 91 octane fuel that still make it a very fun car to own.
Right. Can you recommend a place to go to?
As far as doing the conversion, or as far as doing what?
As far as doing upgrades.
Well, I think it just depends on what you want to... I mean, to answer your question, yes, there is, and it depends on what you want to do as far as upgrades. That's probably a better question for me off air via email. Pop me an email, john@drive-radio.com. I can kind of run through some different things with you on, what some of the options are, who can do them, etc. We've got some guys in our group that can probably handle some things. If it gets beyond certain things, then I can recommend some other folks to you. I've seen, and I'm just reading the internet right now, it's all over the map. They're saying that it depends on the city you're in, who's doing the blending, etc. It's anywhere from 100 to 105, and some say it goes as high as 113, but I think I'd be really leery of seeing it at 113. So I would say somewhere around that 100 range, the low hundreds is probably pretty accurate.
Okay, well, I thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, talk to Ken. He's got a question on a 95 Chevy door lock, and we got a line open, 303-477-5600. I'm your host, John Rush. We'll be back right after these messages from our sponsors and our Colorado Select Auto Care Centers here on KLZ 560, The Source.
Do you have the need for speed?
If so, Extreme Auto Repair is the place for you. Extreme Auto Repair specializes in vehicle restoration and performance enhancements that'll get you where you need to go with speed and style. With their knowledgeable staff and professional service, they can answer any questions you have to get your vehicle running the way you've always dreamed it could. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Give your vehicle the attention it deserves. Mention this ad to receive $25 off any service or repair at Extreme Auto Repair in Parker.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to John's 4x4 Center on Arapahoe in Boulder for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. John's 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located on Arapahoe Road just east of 63rd behind Carpet 1, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 303-449-2640. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at johns4x4.com.
Grab a Napa bucket for $2.99, and everything you fit in it is 20% off. What can you fit in a bucket? A radiator? No. 10 oil filters and 756 pine tree air fresheners? With some elbow grease, maybe. Get your Napa bucket today and save 20% off everything you pack in it. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. Some exclusions apply at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 5/31/14.
24 seconds. I timed it. It took me just 24 seconds to find a AAA certified master mechanic who offers the best peace of mind warranty in the state. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. At coloradoselect.org, I search my city and boom, I'm done. Colorado Select Auto Care puts their member shops through a rigorous set of requirements, so I know no matter which shop I choose, I'll get the best auto repair service possible. That's 24 seconds well spent. coloradoselect.org.
All right, one line open is all, so we filled up one of the lines as we were at break. 303-477-5600 is our number. Give us a call and we'll get you right on air. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on the last caller. So, Jack, if you're still listening, you know, it's hard to say all of this in a short time when we're getting up against a break, etc. What I was really trying to get to Jack and get the point across was I would not build a car today to just go out, drive on the streets, make it my daily or even seasonal driver. So you're going to drive the car in the summertime, etc. I would not build a car, the engine, etc., around E85 because literally you would be building the engine, the induction system, the fuel injection, the engine management, etc., all of that around E85. Right. Not knowing how long we're even going to have access, readily accessible fuel is what I'm trying to say. In other words, is it going to be at every station in town, or is it going to be at one station in a town, or is it going to be in one station in the state, or where are we? Because you've seen the flex fuel vehicles even start to fall off some. There's not near the push for E85 there once was.
It's just not what it was. You weren't saving enough. I don't think.
You're not.
When you're putting it in your car, when you change back, you're spending just as much money.
Right. There's not enough savings to make it worthwhile. So they've determined that. Again, I'm one that just says build the car to run on 91 if you want to. Do some things that way. So, yeah, send me an email, Jack, and I'll answer that for you. And, by the way, anybody else that wants to ask a question, maybe you don't even want to come on air and you just want to ask it, and we can answer it on air for you. Send us an email. John at drive-radio.com. I can answer that. I've got my email right in front of me. I can do that right here on the air if you'd like us to. Or you can email us all week long.
Or you can walk into one of the Colorado Select shops.
Or call them on the phone or whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Everybody with the Colorado Select would be willing to take a phone call.
That's exactly right. So, and I would appreciate the help. So, yes, that would be great.
Don't look at me like that.
Doesn't bother me at all. No. And these guys are a huge help, so don't take that the wrong way. These guys do. But to Dennis's point, you can call any of them anytime when they're open. They'll take care of it. I just know a lot of you do email, et cetera, and if you do, and the other thing that I do is if there's something that I know somebody in your area can definitely help you out with, I just CC that particular person or a group on it. It all starts working that way, and boom, off we go. I had 2 or 3 shops this week I did that exact same thing with, so that's how we do it. Let's go to Ken in Westminster, who's next. Ken, welcome. What's going on today?
95 Chevy pickup.
How are you doing today, Ken?
I'm doing good, John. Yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling us.
The door locks quit working, and also the power seat. And looking at it, they're on the same.
Yep, same circuit.
And the in the fuse block, there's a 20 amp. Kind of looks like a relay.
Should be a circuit breaker, they call that.
Yeah. Well, that thing is just. I mean, you can't touch it. It's fired.
That means you've got a dead short someplace.
Yep. And it's also draining my battery.
Yeah. You have a dead short somewhere, and it's probably in the door lock circuit, not the seat circuit, because typically they would get pinched in the door, and they would go to ground somewhere in that area, and that's typically what happens on those.
Unless you had something stored underneath the seat, and you went to move the seat, and it jammed, and it's sitting there trying to go.
I know Ken well enough to know that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it...
yeah. Okay.
Sorry, but I do.
Yeah.
It was just intermittent for a while, but now... And that concerns me that thing is that hot.
Yes, well, and it does, because the way that works, just so everybody else listening besides Ken, the way a circuit breaker works is it's like a fuse that resets itself. So even in old days in houses, instead of having a breaker that we flip, they'd have some that were somewhat automatic. Well, it's a similar type of a device. So it gets hot, opens. When it cools off, it'll close again. When it gets hot, it opens. In your case, Ken, it's just staying hot all the time because it's got a dead short.
Yeah, it'd be best to remove that.
Yeah, take it out until you get the short
If
fixed.
you take it out, then your battery won't drain.
Right.
Too.
Well, I did take it out, and it still drains the battery. So, but it also, with it out, when you hit the button, you can hear it clicking.
Well, then that's not. Yeah. Then you got another. There's another power.
Or you've got 2 wires shorted together someplace.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Oh, boy, that could be fun to
Which
find.
could very well be the case. And it, we make that sound, really, really dire. But what'll happen is once you get to the source of the problem, it'll all make sense because there's something probably backfeeding something else, and that's why the battery's still draining, and you can still because you're still feeding that switch some way somehow.
And that should be fairly easy to find, to be honest with you. Well, I say that, but because I like electrical, and whenever you have that happening now, sometimes electrical is intermittent, and it's a tough one to find.
Now that it's there, it's easy.
It should be easy to find.
Right. And normally the power seat is on the circuit breaker and the door locks is on a fuse. So there might be another fuse there that the door locks are on.
No, I can't find any. But anyway, I thought maybe you might have heard this.
Yeah, I had. In fact, in those years, again, if it were me personally, I'd look at the driver's door, the wires coming through the door, make sure there's nothing that's gotten frayed, and you may have to even pull the door panel off to look inside because you can't always see that stuff from the outside looking in. And if you need a schematics for that, Ken, send me. You know how to get me. Just come by and I'll get you one.
What I would do is take off the door panel and unplug stuff. Just start unplugging it.
See when it goes away.
Yeah. And if it doesn't go away,
the switches and everything are unplugged now.
Really?
It's still a problem. So.
Well, again, if you've got two wires though that are shorted before the switch, you're going to have that no matter what you unplug.
Right.
Okay. Well, I appreciate. I enjoy your show.
No, you're well. I appreciate it, Ken, and thanks for listening. And if you need a diagram, let me know, and I'll get you one.
Let us know what you find.
All right, I appreciate
it, Ken. Thanks so much.
I'd be interested in that.
Ken's an old friend. I've known him for a long time, so yeah, we'll help him get that resolved some way, somehow.
But when people call in and we tell them, some things, what to do, it's nice to hear when they call back and say, by the way, this is what I found.
This is what I found.
Even if it isn't anything we recommended, it's just good.
It helps us.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right, we got time for, I think, one more call before the top of the hour, 303-477-5600. Kitty is up next. Kitty, welcome. What's going on today? Kitty, are you there?
Hello. Hello.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Yeah, this is Judy.
Oh, okay. Judy. Sorry, I had the wrong name on my screen.
Yeah, that's no problem.
That's all right. What can we do for you?
Well, I'm actually calling for my daughter. She has a 2000 Honda Accord.
Okay.
And it's really been a fabulous car, but it has one quirk. And we don't know exactly what it is. Sometimes it'll go a whole year between this quirk happening, 6 months, or it could be a month. But what happens is you stop, go into a store, come out, you cannot get the car started, or it kind of halts and it does funny things, and actually sometimes it just won't start. And basically what happens, we've kind of narrowed it down to, like, say for instance, if you had a lot of shopping to do and you stopped at 4 or 5 stores, and then that's when it seems to happen. So she's pretty careful about, not stopping any more than 3 places. Now,
maybe the car just likes to shop.
Well, that's true. I'll tell her that. She likes to shop, so she'll appreciate that. And we took it to our mechanic, and he called it he said it sounded like a heat sink. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. Yeah, on the 2000.
It's very difficult, he said, to determine what the problem was. He did some research online, and it came up with, I believe, a computer relay, because he said, you don't want to put a lot of money into checking this out.
Yeah, not when it's that intermittent. One quick question, and we'll run up to the top of the hour. If I don't get all of this, hang with us, and we'll get you as soon as we come back. But quick question, does she buy fuel at the same place all the time, or does she bounce around buying fuel, or is there any pattern there?
She usually buys at Costco.
Okay, which right now Costco is a top-tier supplier, so that's good fuel.
What is it doing when you say it doesn't want to start? Does it crank?
It'll crank, but it'll halt, and then you have to start again, and sometimes it just won't start at all.
So is the engine itself turning over? It's just not firing?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And again,
it wants to fire, but it doesn't quite do it.
Okay, I tell you what, we're up against a break. Hang with us, Kitty. Judy. Sorry, I'm looking at my screen. I'm sorry. So Judy, we'll fix that in a second when we come back. Hang with us. We're going to go right to the news. Don't go away. All of you that are listening, we're going to see if we can help Judy out through the break here. We'll do a little research even on our own. We'll come back, take her call, and anything else you want to talk about. We got, 2 lines open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air again. John Rush, Ray Seidel, Dennis Brewster, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Hey, it's Randy Corcoran. Are you up early, hungry for news, politics, opinion, all focused on the march back to liberty? Then please join us Monday through Friday, 5 to 8 a.m. It's Wake Up with Randy Corcoran on KLZ 560.
Church has always brought people together, but never quite like this.
Your church believes that they can help you find true love.
Premiering Thursday on Game Show Network.
Tell me about your bachelor.
He's real cuddly. The dating game gets a miraculous makeover as congregations play Cupid in a matchmaking ministry of love.
I hope you trust your church.
True love gets real. It Takes a Church, hosted by Natalie Gray. Premieres Thursday at 9/8 Central, only on Game Show Network.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922, KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Brad James. A couple of major resignations in the Obama administration. First, VA Secretary Eric Shinseki resigning. Speaking on Fox News, former Republican Governor Mike Huckabee with reaction.
Nothing substantive was done yesterday. It was a symbolic walking of the plank so that Shinseki walks off. I don't think Shinseki knew when he woke up yesterday morning that he was out. I think he was out when he got a phone call, said your resignation would be deeply appreciated within the next 10 minutes. Because he made a speech yesterday morning acting like everything was just fine, and then, an hour later, his head's rolling down the carpet of the White House. Clearly, this was something that had to be done just to make the symbolism. But the substantive problems at the VA are only going to be solved when someone goes in and actually does some managing, which is what's been lacking at the VA.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to the Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
Wake up with Randy Corcoran, Monday morning at 5 on legendary KLZ 560, The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
What's this?
The Chevy didn't make the 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, we're back. I'm your host, John Rush. KLZ 560 The Source. Ray Seidel is with me, along with Dennis Brewster. We had one caller, Judy, that hung on with us at the last of the last hour, very last of the last hour, that we said we would talk about through. And Ray thinks he's got a fix for her. So Judy, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
All right, so Ray's got a suggestion.
I said we've had the problem with. I kind of agree with your mechanics. Say it's either the main or central relay. I mean, it's the main relay that powers the computer system and stuff. Usually underneath the dash on the left side. We've had similar intermittent problems with Honda, and we've replaced that main or central relay, and that usually takes care of it. So. And usually the price isn't so bad. I mean, the relay is not that expensive. So if you haven't replaced that ever, I would say that might be something that you might want to try, being it's so intermittent.
Okay, when you say the main or central, that's the same relay, correct?
Yes, main or central relay. Okay. Yeah, they kind of.
And that's exactly what he did. He did some research and he came up with that, and he did change it. He changed that out. But she actually had the problem, I think, twice
after that. Okay.
So that's not it.
Then we definitely said that again. That I agree with him 100%. I mean, he was doing the right thing.
That was a good first step.
That's a very good first step. And again, we've fixed a lot of intermittent problems that way. And the reason we found it is we had one that you were testing and it finally failed, so we actually could test it.
Dennis, you had another thought too to check that she could do while it fails. Just as a side note.
Just try it. Just releasing the gas cap. See if
so next time it doesn't want to start, go back to the gas cap, unscrew it just a little bit, go back and try to restart it and see if that does anything.
Actually, that was the very first thing that we did ourselves.
Okay. Did it and it didn't help, or?
It didn't help.
Okay.
Did you have a lot of pressure come off of it though? Did you hear a lot of air releasing?
No, it was something that we told her to do.
Okay.
Because there's some sensors in the back, or not sensors, but some pressure things in the tank, and if they're not releasing right, maybe the pressure's building up. I don't know. It's venting out of the tank.
And one thing we didn't get from you the last hour was how many miles are on the car now?
Probably about 140,000.
And how long has it been doing this? What mileage did it start?
Probably started about, 3 years ago, so maybe 30,000 miles ago.
Okay, so around 110K or so.
Yeah.
Hondas aren't known for having, premature, fuel pump problems, things along those lines. But I don't know that I would rule that out either at this point. At 140K, it's kind of what Ray was saying a minute ago about the other module. To put a fuel pump in at, at 140K, you're not going to hurt anything by doing that. Is that going to fix it? You really wouldn't know until you tried it. It'd be more of a maintenance thing.
I think that's a good suggestion because at first when I was thinking how to describe it, I would have said it was like the fuel wasn't getting to it.
Right. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And what can happen, you just explain this to everybody else listening. Most people think on a modern fuel-injected engine, et cetera, that they really can't ever vapor lock. And the truth is, if a fuel pump gets weak and it won't push past some of what can happen in a vapor lock situation, in fact, they can, vapor lock.
Yes.
And it is exactly a vapor lock, even though they'll say, well, fuel injection vehicles don't vapor lock. Well, I've seen it happen myself. They can. The way you get past that is by having a strong enough fuel pump to push that cold fuel in the tank up past it. The other thing I was going to ask, too, is does she keep the tank full all the time, half full, or does she run around with a quarter tank like a lot of young people do?
No, I'm sure that sometimes it does go down low, but I've always told her, especially in the wintertime, keep it at least half full.
Yeah, that's good advice. Good advice.
The other thing you could do is when like if she's in a quiet place, when you turn the key to on, you should hear a noise. You should hear a little buzz.
Hear the pump running.
That way, that's the pump in the back running. But it's going to be hard to kind of hear that if you don't know what you're listening to. And it's going to be tough for a technician to find that. And so I almost recommend. I'm thinking it's more of the fuel. That's why releasing the fuel, the gas cap releases a little bit of pressure. If you hear a lot of pressure build up, then that the tank's sealing. But if you don't hear that, then there could be some other issues there, and the gas might not be draining back into the tank, too, if the valve is bad or it's draining back down, and then you have to kind of crank it a couple times before it'll actually get
I would say that you're I think you're on the right track. You've done a lot of diagnosis on your own, which, by the way, kudos to you guys. You've done a lot of this on your own and saved yourself a lot of money. I would, if it were me, I would just put a fuel pump in it as a maintenance item next.
Okay.
Fuel pump and fuel filter.
Yeah. So you said when you release the gas cap, in other words, you would do this at the point in time when you cannot start it.
That's right. Just to see how much pressure's in the tank.
Okay, and you should have pressure.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
If not, then you've got a leak somewhere in the evap system that's also not good. And I don't know that would cause all your problem, but it's something to know about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think you've taken us to the next step.
Great. We appreciate it. That's what we want to do. That's what we're here for.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy. Have a great afternoon. And we got lines open. We haven't had that all morning. So give us a call. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. We'd love to chat with you. Top of the hour, I'll give you a couple more of our announcements that we had early on. So right now, in Castle Rock, there's a big event going on at the new Napa store that got built down there. Dennis, tell us all about it.
I'll tell you all about it. Well, I guess they got the NASCAR simulator down there. So if you go in there, you can win prizes, it sounded like. First, second, and third fastest times. And
which, by the way, this is not like it's NASCAR, so this is going to be a high-speed simulator, run around the track. Whoever has the fastest speeds gets some free gift cards.
Right. And then you can also go inside. They have these buckets, they say, that whatever you put
bucket.
in there, whatever you can put in there, you get 25% off, which is a pretty
Huge.
smoking deal.
Yeah, that's really big.
And I'd see if I can stick a drive shaft in that thing or something, But anyway.
Well, tools, all sorts of stuff you can put in a bucket.
Oh, my gosh.
You could cram a lot of stuff in there.
You can. I'm surprised they're doing it. I know they have free food and they got some other
Yes,
prizes.
they do. Yeah, and in fact, I put that on our Facebook. They're going to have hot dogs, hamburgers, all that kind of stuff. So definitely free food. So it'll make it worth your while to come down there and see them. So
You can't
by all
miss
means,
it.
do
You
that.
can't miss it because if you're going down the highway, you can see them right off the highway just before you get to the exit, the 182 exit, which is Wolfensberger.
Wolfensberger, right.
Yeah. And you get off there, you just take a right and then go up to the light, and then it take your next right, which is Caprice Drive, and then you go down to Caprice Court, which is 165 unit.
Very cool. They're giving away a free toolbox today to the grand winner of that. And again, just a lot of cool things going on. Stop in there, say hi. Make sure you tell them that we sent you down there. We were trying to be down there today to do a remote, and as I said earlier, it just didn't pan out on our end.
We would have been down there. We would have had first, second, and third right here, right? And we would have had buckets full.
And by the way, they're going to be there past our show. We're on the air till 1 o'clock. They're going to be down there till I think 5 o'clock today, I want to say. Is that right?
I want to say that too.
I think so. So I think till around 5 o'clock. So again, be a great day. It'll be a lot of fun.
And then show them. Tell them that you did hear it on the radio.
Yes.
To let them know how much we
that
appreciate them too. And I got to tell you, Jeff, the owner of those, he owns that store. He owns the Parker store and the Elizabeth store. Great guy.
Yep.
I mean, he does great things for the consumers out there. He does a lot for the community too. So.
I agree. So again, that was our main announcement. We've got some new sponsors. I've mentioned this before coming on to Drive Radio. One of those is Quick Tread. It's going to be a tire supplier for us. They'll be able to supply you tires either where you work, where you live, if you're a fleet shop, if you're another repair shop, if you're, again, one of our Colorado Select facilities, we're going to highly recommend. In fact, we've got guys already buying tires from them. They've got a great system. They'll come out, mount, balance, do everything that you need right then and there. Ken Bauer, I'm not going to give the phone number out yet because they're still working on getting their website and some other things set up, but they'll be joining us here in June, which is really just next week. Paul Leuenberger, you heard him last week. He's with American National Insurance Company. He'll take care of all of your insurance needs, whatever it happens to be. So whether it's car, boat, jet skis we had last week, a question on, home, you name it, he'll take care of whatever needs you've got. And one cool thing about them that I really like is if you don't have a claim in 3 years, what was it, Dennis? You get up to 25% of your policy, of your premiums back.
From the 3 years back.
That's right, which is a huge, that's just a huge, and the biggest thing there is just don't have any claims.
Right. Well, I think it's cool that they do that. I mean, how many... Well,
and it was funny, I didn't put Paul on the spot last week, but I asked him, like, okay, Paul, you guys have been around for a really long time. You're an old insurance company. You don't advertise a ton. How do you keep your rates so low, and how do things work? And what he really said, this is it in a nutshell, he said, we have great customers. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, I can't say this, but he said, and I said, well, can I? And he said, yeah, and it really what it boils down to, they don't have a lot of customers that are abusing their insurance like other companies have.
Right.
which is why we recommend it to our listeners, because I know most of you out there listening are that type of a customer or a client of the insurance company. You're not having insurance fraud. You're not doing all these things. You know, you're not nickel and dime in the insurance company every time you turn around. You're keeping your car well maintained. You drive well. You try to avoid accidents.
Take care of the little things.
That's
so
right.
So you can get
On
your
and on
repairs.
we go. That's how they keep the rates down, is they have really good customers.
Kind of like us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a great fit for us. So, yeah, American National Insurance, Paul Leuenberger. Give him a call, 303-619-9891. Let's go to the phones. Jay is up next. Jay, welcome. What's going on today?
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Wanted your opinion. I've already read about 500 opinions.
Yeah, well, that's what the Internet's for.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Okay, 97 Expedition, 4R70W, called for Mercon fluid. Now, if you read, you'll hear 500 people say Mercon only. Don't put Mercon 5 in it, you'll kill it. People say it doesn't matter, mix them. Some will say switch over to Mercon, flush it out and use Mercon 5. There's every opinion on earth and tons of them.
Mm-hmm. There is.
Yeah, there is.
I have not had any trouble personally, and I'll speak for myself. Larry, and by the way, you could follow this up by calling Larry's Automotive. In fact, I'll just put you back on hold, and he can give you the number of Jeff to call directly this week if you'd like to. But I've never had any problem using the later model full synthetic fluid in that transmission, superseding the Mercon. I've not had any lick of trouble doing that.
Okay, yeah. One and only time I ever did it, I actually just dropped the pan, put a filter in it, and the 5 quarts of oil back in it that it lost, and I used Mercon 5, so I haven't had any trouble. But
no, and what I learned this last week being out at Universal Lubricants is, oil mixes. That's why there's synthetic blends of oil, because when you look at everything and how it's built and the chemistry, the carbon chain that's in oil, the reason why you can take a synthetic oil and a regular oil, mix the two together and still have them function is because they're still coming out of the same original carbon chain. So automatic transmission fluid, if you had regular versus synthetic, now I'm not going to tell you to go out and mix those two together, but if you ever got into a pinch and you had to do it, can you make that work? Sure you can. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In your case, I would flush everything out, go with a later model fluid, and run it that way. That's my personal preference.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does that help you?
Yeah, and I was also going to mention that gal with the Honda with the intermittent problem. Just because I put a relay in there doesn't mean that relay doesn't have the same problem a lot of the other ones do.
Well, that's true too.
That's a good point.
No, there's people make parts, and not every new part is always a good part. So you're 100% correct. Yep, they're not there's no such thing as a perfect part, guys.
There's a warranty.
That's right. Yeah. Human beings make those parts.
Right.
In a lot of cases, they're robotics, etc., but there's still humans behind all of that.
Sometimes you can put a part on out of the box and it's bad. We had that yesterday.
That's exactly right. So 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Wayne up in Greeley is up next. Wayne, welcome. What's going on today?
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Wayne.
I was listening to you about the E85, and I've owned a couple flex fuel vehicles over the years here lately.
Yep.
And I've never used it. I never even messed with it. Is there, if you're already set up with a flex fuel vehicle, is there any real downside to using the flex fuel? I know I could probably get E85 a little cheaper, and I think I have a station here in town where I can get it.
The way I've done the math in the past, Wayne, is, and especially in your case, because I know the fuel mileage where you're at, is you've got to save around 80 cents a gallon to make it worthwhile.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not worth the time and trouble to drive out of your way to fill up with E85. If you're not saving 80 cents a gallon, so in other words, right now, fuel is around $3.50, $3.60 a gallon. So if you can't buy E85 for $2.70, $2.80-ish a gallon, it needs to be less than about $2.60 a gallon really is where you need to be. If you're not buying it for $2.60 a gallon, it's not worth buying.
Okay, fine. Well, I was just curious. I didn't know, does it give you more power?
It can, and in certain cases, some folks have claimed that they can feel it. On a flex fuel vehicle, you may notice it a little bit more because the vehicle was set up to run flex fuel, to run E85 in the first place. But I I'm not one that would run it just because of the power side of the fence. I mean, what you're driving makes plenty of power anyways. It really comes down more to if you want to save some economy.
Okay. Well, that answers my question on that. I had one other, if you don't mind.
Sure, no, go ahead, Wayne.
Well, I queried you when I saw you down there about this natural gas oil.
Yes.
Creating from natural
Yeah, and by the way, I asked those guys when we were at Universal Lubricants this past week about it, so, go ahead and fire away, and I'll answer it the best I can.
Well, I was just curious what you found out, if you found out it was advantageous to use that over regular synthetic or not.
It's going to be, and this is the comment I got back from Universal was, it's definitely going to be a cleaner base stock to begin with, because basically what they're doing is they're taking natural gas, liquefying it, refining it, and then getting that base stock to make their to make their synthetic oil out of that. And yeah, and basically what they said was, yeah, you're probably going to see more and more of that coming down the pike as we get more. As we try to be less dependent on foreign oil and we start to do more with our own natural resources, which we have huge amounts of natural gas here in this country, I think you're going to see more of it coming down the road. Now, is that going to be in the next 2 or 3 years? Probably not. That's probably a 10-year, look down the road. But are you going to see more oils coming from natural gas? Yes, you will.
Now, that answered that question also.
Okay, so that was coming right from a refinery and guys that are blending oil.
Oh, I'm sorry, Don, I interrupted.
No, what I was saying is that came right from the guys that are blending oil today. So if they are saying that, hey, that's probably going to be a thing of the future, and in fact they're looking at ways of how do we do this same thing, because they're in the Midwest, so there's a lot of natural gas where they're at and the people that they already service. So yep, that's high on their list.
Well, it's nice to know. I know Pennzoil's got some on the market now, but
yep.
I don't know about.
Here's the catch to Pennzoil, though, which you also learned at this meeting, which I thought was very interesting. That natural gas oil that they're producing does not come out of the U.S. That comes out of the Middle East.
That's really.
Well, I'll be darned. Okay.
So in that particular case, you're really not helping our dependence on foreign oil by buying that particular oil because it's coming out of the Middle East anyways.
Well, I don't worry about that too much. It's my own benefit.
And really, when it comes down to it, buying a really good, high-quality synthetic oil, oils have gotten so much better today, and they're going to continue to improve. I'll talk more about that as we go through the show. Just for an example, you're going to see a 0.18 and potentially a 0.16 and a 0.8 weight oil in the very near future.
Wow.
Into computer oils.
This Mobile One, when you go to buy it, what I noticed on some of the quarts and some of the 5-quart deals, it'll say it's. I got this Chevy with the 5.
You have to be Dexos approved for what you're using.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Said what you put in your vehicle has to be Dexos approved to stay under warranty.
Okay, but just plain Mobile One across the board, is that if it's Dexos?
As long as it has a Dexos approval on it, you're fine, but it has to be Dexos approved.
Right. There's Mobile One has actually 3 different oils.
Right.
They have one for the European market, the normal one, and then they have the Dexos or the Chevy oil. So.
And by the way, I also learned this. Even though there's a big marketing ploy and there's a royalty thing on the Dexos, which every oil company that gets an approval pays GM a royalty for selling that on a per-quart basis. And by the way, they pay that royalty on every amount of oil they sell, not just what's sold for Dexos, which I thought was also interesting. Wow. The other thing they have to do is Dexos is not just a stamp because they're paying a royalty back. It does have different ad packs in it that meet certain things GM want to see in their engine. So it is a different oil than what regular Mobile One would be.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, thank you, John.
That's why you have to use Dexos.
You guys always do a great job answering the questions.
We appreciate it very much. Thanks for calling in. And we need a break, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we? Where am I at? I've lost track, Matt. Do I need a break? Have we taken one yet?
I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. We need a break right now. So keep going? All right. We'll keep going then. All right. 303-477-5600. For some reason, I thought we needed a break in here. I've been talking so much, I lost track of time. So we did take a break, Larry says?
No.
We missed a break, so let's take it right now. Just roll us into a break. Take us there now. We got one line open, 303-477-5600. I'll go a little longer on this segment, and we'll get caught back up. So, again, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. AM 560 KLZ, The Source.
Do you know how many computers your vehicle has? At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can tell how many there are. If your vehicle is a 1996 or newer, it may have multiple computers. Did you know that car computers need updating just like home or office computers? Arvada West is equipped to update most all vehicle computers. The process usually takes less than an hour and can help your vehicle perform efficiently. From a keyless entry to fuel strategies, this simple procedure can help prevent breakdowns and improve your performance. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck, 303-422-1065. Visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com or stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue, where every question is important.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every auto repair says so much more than, if it's not right, we'll try to fix it again. A 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty tells me that this is a master mechanic who's confident, who knows what they're doing. I mean, nobody offers a warranty like that, right? Colorado Select Auto Care Centers do, and only the members of Colorado Select offer a warranty this good. Find a mechanic who's a member of Colorado Select Auto Care at coloradoselect.org.
All right, we're back. Thanks for tuning in. One line open, 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And I apologize. We went really long in that first segment. We'll catch back up, so we'll do a quick little bit here, take a break, and I'll make the last one a little bit longer, too. And we'll make it all work out. I always catch up. Not a big deal. Let's go to Don, who is next. Don, welcome. What's going on today?
Hey, good morning, John.
Good morning, Don.
Nice to talk with you. And
likewise.
Ray.
Thank you.
I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah,
I am. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty close to it. So I'm feeling a whole lot better than I was on Thursday.
Yeah, there's some nasty bugs floating.
Yeah, I feel much better.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I wanted to let you know, John, I got that transmission together for my Jeep, that T96.
Awesome.
And I'm looking around for oil to put in it, and it calls for 80 winter and 90 summer, so I figured 80 W90.
Yep.
But the problem is, and the reason I called you, I went to research a little bit on transmission oils, and apparently the GL5 oil, which is the current gear lube, has a lot of sulfur in it, which eats up synchros on vintage transmissions.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, I better find.
You just need regular old 80-90 weight is what you want.
A GL4 though, not a GL5.
Correct.
Okay, well when I look around, all I can find in an 80-90 GL4 is a 75 W90.
That would be okay.
Yeah.
You could run that. Yeah, you'd be fine with that.
That's close enough.
Yeah, you won't have any issues.
Not so thin that.
No, I mean, it's not far enough off the 80 to worry about it. I wouldn't go much thinner than that. I mean, the reality is you could run automatic transmission fluid in it and make it work, but it'll leak out of everything on that transmission because it's just too thin. But it would lubricate everything just fine.
Sure. Okay. Would you say I could run a full synthetic like Redline? They make a G75 W90 GL4.
You could. I don't know for what you're going to be doing you'd need to, but you could.
I noticed Stay Lube makes a regular conventional 75 W.
I would just use a conventional on that application. Again, everybody else close your ears. This is Don, his old Jeep. Don't apply this to everything else. Just use regular old oil that you can find on that, Don, is what I would run.
Okay.
And typically, I tell everybody run synthetic, but on that transmission, I'd still run the old fluid if you can find it and do it that way.
And stay away from GL5
Yes.
with GL4.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Hey, I wanted to ask Dennis on that garage sale he's going to have, will he have any used scanners for sale?
I'm not sure because other shops everybody in the Colorado Select is going to be bringing stuff. So
Very well, maybe.
Yeah.
I've got some stuff I'm going to dig out of my place, so you never know. It's hard to say.
You never know.
We're all going to be digging around trying to find what we can drag down
I
there.
think that the week before we'll know then.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have a couple old scanners I may drag out if I can get my act together and get everything put together. I may drag some of that stuff down. I have 2 old scanners I'd like to get rid of.
I got to go through all my scanners at work and find out the ones that everybody isn't using.
I've got them. They work, but we've got the
They
new
don't use
stuff.
them.
Nobody uses them. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't suppose I could afford a really nice new.
No, and these old ones would work fine. They'll be $200-300 and off you go.
You got to remember, Don, it's a garage sale. We want to get rid of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Price to go.
That's right.
It's on the dollar.
That's exactly right.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
You too, Don. Appreciate it very much. Have a great afternoon. And
just to let
enjoy.
everybody know, the radio show is going to be going on down there.
That's right.
We're going to be live down there, so
it'll be fun. It'll be a great day. We're
might
looking
even
forward
have some
to it.
hot dogs and hamburgers.
That's
on.
right. We're going to have a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. We'll enjoy it. One line open, by the way, 303-477-5600. Monica is up next. Monica, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking my call.
No, thanks for calling us. We appreciate it.
See, I have a 2009 Caliber with 104,000 miles on it. And the issue that I'm having with my car right now is that sometimes I turn off my car and my car doesn't turn off. I can take the key out. I cannot change gears, but the car will not turn off. So I put the key back in, turn it on, and then it goes from low to high as if the car was on. But it goes on, for a couple times. The last time was on for 5 minutes that she finally died. So I'm not sure. The problem is I mentioned to someone, and they said it might be the roller. But I know that when I went and turned on the car again, it wouldn't start right away.
And Ray, Ray can chime in too. It sounds more like an ignition switch issue to me than it does. I almost was going to say jokingly, it sounds like you're driving a GM car, but you're not. You're driving a Chrysler. But I think it's a similar situation where I think it's an ignition switch issue.
Yeah, I would agree with John. I mean, because if it's not, the switch isn't correct, and you still have contacts in there, and that's why
That's right.
The other time, I guess, is try cycling the key off and on a few times. Next time it happens, to see if that helps, and that'd give you an idea that might be an ignition switch.
Another quick question for you, Monica, is do you carry just the single key that you put into the car to start it, or does your key ring have a lot of other keys on it?
It has about 4 keys.
Okay, is it real heavy, or are they fairly light?
Fairly light.
Okay, that shouldn't be too big of a factor. I mean, we recommend, and it's for everybody listening, I don't care if you're driving a GM car or what, use the key that goes with the car only. Keep your house keys and everything else on a separate ring, and there's 2 reasons for this, by the way. One is you want to keep the ignition switch pressure as light as possible. So that's why you don't want any extra pressure from all the extra weight of the keys. And I even would tell you to avoid, I've seen medallions and all sorts of other things that, kids put those big long looped things on their key rings and all that stuff. You want just an ignition key and the key fob, and that's it. That's the only 2 things you want connected together on it. The other reason why is if you ever lose the car keys, you've now lost house keys and everything else that go with that. So I've always been one that's kept those things separate just for safety reasons.
Okay.
The other reason is if the keys are too heavy, then they wear on the ignition switch.
Yeah, that was my point with why you want to keep those as light as possible. In fact, GM has found, even though they screwed up, and they did, and they tried to cover things up. I'm not going to talk about that on the show today. It might be a better topic for my other show that's going to happen during the week at 2 p.m. We may get into some of that there. But, yeah, GM made some mistakes. But the reality is, here's the real truth behind it. Had everybody that was driving those GM vehicles had only the ignition key and the key fob with it, I'm not sure they would have ever had any problems.
Okay.
A lot of the people that had problems had more keys and weight on the key ring that affected that ignition switch. So, and I'm not saying that's totally your problem, but this is just in general for everybody else listening. but I think you have an ignition switch problem.
And you can go probably see Ken Rackley.
Yes, you could. You're out in Aurora. Go by and see Ken at Tune Tech, and he can look at that for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Monica, thank you so much for your phone call. Have a great afternoon. Guys, we're close enough, Matt. Let's catch up on breaks. Let's do that real fast. We'll get this other line lit up, 303-477-5600. And Terry will tell you where to buy synthetic oil right when we come back here on Drive Radio, AM 560, The Source.
Right now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts, and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
Ah, summer. A time of fun, sun, high temperatures, and the ultimate family road trip. Before embarking on the ultimate family adventure, bring your vehicle over to Fort Collins 4x4 Center for a little TLC. Our summer maintenance inspection includes pressure testing your air conditioning system, checking your coolant levels and tire pressure, testing your battery, inspecting your hoses and belts for cracks, cuts, and bulges, testing your transmission, power steering, and brake fluids. Having your vehicle inspected before a long road trip can keep you on the road, not stuck beside it during your vacation. Fort Collins 4x4 is under new ownership as of January 2014. Stop by and see what's new. Located a few blocks north of Old Town on College Avenue in Hemlock, we are open to serve you Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. with shuttle service and after-hours drop. Give us a call at 970-482-5500. Follow us on Facebook or check us out at FortCollins4x4.com.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, we're back. Thanks for tuning in. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source. We appreciate everybody listening to us. Dennis Brewster from Extreme is with us. Ray Seidel from Four Seasons. And apologize, we typically do a lot more intros and announcements, but we've had tons of calls today, which is great. We appreciate everybody that's called in. It's a fantastic Colorado, beautiful day. We were going to talk more about Universal Oil, which I will as we get through these next about an hour and a half left of the show is all. One other thing I want to talk about at some point today, if we get to it, is one of our local news programs had 5 tips on how to basic in the headline was 5 tips to make your car last over 200,000 miles. So I thought, well, hey, I'm going to watch it just for grins. So I watched a little video, and I'm not going to name names. You can go out and find it yourself. Sorry, guys, no offense. There wasn't a single tip there that'll make your car go over 200,000 miles other than the first one, which was change your oil when it needs to be changed. That was it. The rest of the tips had nothing to do with making your car last. So we'll get into some of that as we go on. I don't want to, don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it's almost like, wait a minute, I thought you had car experts that were going to come on TV with you and help people really decipher what they need to do to make their car last longer. And what always baffles me is we've done this for 18 years on air here in Denver, and yet the guys they picked to go on TV, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that guy's not an expert. In fact, the information he just gave out isn't even accurate.
That's probably because he's paying to be on there.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. Okay. Ray did anyways. All right, let's go to Terry, who's up next. Terry, welcome. What's going on today?
I can't. I'm unable to find 1540 synthetic for my 99 7.3 diesel.
Rotella makes 1540 synthetic. Oh, I can't talk here. Rotella makes 1540 synthetic. So does a lot of other companies. Mobile does, Delvac, Valvoline, Chevron. I can go down the list. Where have you been shopping?
I've been to 5 different places, including Napa in Arvada on 64th. Nobody has it. I'm just
really.
Yeah.
They don't. So they don't have Rotella T 1540 on the shelf. They have to.
Regular 1540.
Rotella T. So they don't have any full synthetic Rotella on the shelf.
No, sir.
Really?
Wow.
That baffles me.
5 different places, including last night I went to Murdoch's. They said that they would order it for me, but I don't know if that's true or not. But
yeah, in Parker, I know they have it sitting on the shelf there at Murdoch's and Napa. And
that's interesting. Let's see. And so you're in Arvada. I can tell you right now that if you went over to Arvada West Auto Repair and Truck Service, which is one of our Colorado Select facilities, they will have 1540 synthetic that they will sell you.
Okay.
They won't have it today because they're closed, but if you go in there Monday through Friday, they'll have it.
What's the name of the place again?
Arvada West Auto and Truck Service. They're right at 64th and Ralston, basically.
60.
They're right in the same parking lot that the Grease Monkey and the, what's the parts store that's next to them? O'Reilly's or Checkers? Or
O'Reilly's.
I think it's O'Reilly's. So if you find the O'Reilly's on Ralston Road, they're in the same parking lot.
Okay.
And Dorsey carries that. He knows exactly what we're talking about, and he's out of town, but Richie, his right-hand man, will know it, and they'll have it.
I'll give it a try this afternoon.
All right, Terry. Thanks so much. Appreciate the phone call. And I'm sorry you're having so much trouble with that, Terry, too. That shouldn't be that difficult to find 1540 full synthetic. We use it in our shop. I stock it.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys do.
And it might be the lovely Napa warehouse that doesn't like to order inventory, so maybe they ran out in Denver.
Well, that could be. Although, I won't go there. Sorry,
Yeah.
my brain's going faster than my. I was going to talk about
political thing.
No, I was going to talk about Universal Oil and the fact that they're a bulk supplier to a lot of our facilities, but not all of our Colorado Select facilities are using Universal yet. We're working on that, but what I was going to get at is we can get that product from Universal at a moment's notice, too. Right. So, Terry, if you can't find that, by all means, drop me an email. I can get it from Universal, get it to you. We can figure that part of it out.
And I'm looking on the Napa ProLink, to my Inglewood store, and they have the 1540 and Rotella T, and they have 33 gallons in that store.
Okay, so it's around. And by the way, real quick, I should also tell you this. I don't want to give a plug for a non-sponsor, but Terry, if you're still listening, check Costco over there in Arvada. They may very well have it on their shelf also. So while you're over in that area, you could just check Costco if you're a Costco member and maybe find it there. So, guys, with that, let's go to the next caller who's been holding the longest. Jim in Centennial, welcome. What's going on today?
Hi, John.
Hi, guys. What's going on? What can I do for you?
Well, 2 things. One is I use the K&N filters, oil and air.
Got it.
And my wife and I drove to Las Vegas in the 2011 Subaru, which I put a K&N air filter in that at about 3,000 miles. Now I have 21,000.
Okay.
And going south through Utah, we had a good 300 miles of very heavy dust going off and very dry. About 300 or 400 yards where we couldn't even see the end of the hood of the car.
Wow.
I thought we'd be part of a road pileup.
Wow.
Anyway, the point is I came home and out of curiosity, at 21,000, took the air filter out to look at it. And the K&N was spotless on the other side.
Got it.
Inlet side, of course, showed dirt and
right.
crud.
Right.
Spotless on the other side. So is that indicative of that's what that filter does?
Yes, it is. And that's exactly why we use them, recommend them. They're one of our sponsors. They stand behind their product, and we don't do that just because they're a sponsor. Again, they're really more of a partner with us, and they build some of the best products on the planet.
Yeah, I've been using it for years, and I use their oil filter on the Subaru because that wrench off nut is a real blessing on it.
It is. It's one. They all their products, and not only do they have great products, but they're a great company. They stand behind the products. If you've ever got a problem, they're going to step up and take care of it. They'll represent you if you go to a dealership and that says, hey, you put a K&N in, you voided your warranty. They'll take care of all of that, and they're one of the few companies out there that will do all that for you.
Okay, well, that's why I did the filter cleaning kit. And
good for you. Good job.
Okay, the other item is I have a 03 Cadillac, which has Michelin tires on it. They've been on there. I bought the car in 09.
Okay.
It had fairly new Michelins on it at the time. They have probably about 45,000 miles on them now in almost 7 years.
Okay.
I'm going to be taking a round trip to California, doing quite a bit of driving in August. My question is, I've heard that not only the tread still looks pretty decent, but I'm concerned about the age of the tires. I noticed a little checking at the base of the tread.
Right.
I'm considering just replacing them.
Well, how old are they?
tires?
Yes.
7 years.
At least 7 years.
Well, I mean, did you date check them? Because they could be 9 or 10 depending upon the date.
Right.
I understand. I've looked on the sidewall to try and find the date indicator, and I haven't been able to find it.
And if you go online and just look up how old is my tire, it'll give you specifically what that date code is, where it's at, what it looks like, and you can do it yourself because they do it by month and year. There's a little code that they use.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Don't have that in front of me, but you can get an exact. And my personal opinion is, you're getting, I mean, even if they're just a 7-year mark and I was going to take a long trip, I'd probably swap them out.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So that brings up the final question on that, is I really don't care about the real high mileage tires. I want something that's a fairly comfortable ride and has good adhesion and the mud and snow. I'd be happy with a 30 or 40,000 mile tire.
Buy another set of Michelins.
Really?
Yep,
Yeah.
They're a good tire. They really are.
Oh, okay.
Especially for that car.
They work great. Yeah, they really do. And again, I typically don't get real brand specific on tires and such, but in that particular situation, that car, it's already had Michelins on it. You've had great luck with them. Put them back on it.
Yeah.
And again, if you wanted to try to check with Quick Tread and Ken.
Yeah, Ken can tell you also.
Give an idea. Maybe there's some options on that.
That's right.
Okay, I'm sorry, check with who?
Check with our new sponsor, Quick Tread. Ken is his name, and his phone number, 720-557-1380.
Oh, okay, 557-1380.
And he'll come out and they'll put tires right on where you live, too, which makes it nice.
Oh, okay.
And, and everybody else will probably think, well, John, why do you do that? You're taking business away from your Colorado Select facilities. None of us make money on tires anyways.
Well, it's a service. I mean,
right.
He's asking questions. Ken's a qualified tire guy, an
That's
expert,
right.
and so maybe he has an alternative tire
that would work
that
great.
would be less expensive than the Michelin.
That's right.
And exactly what he wants on his Cadillac.
That's right. Thank you, Ray. That's exactly right. Perfect.
Okay, and what was that other one about the tire, age of the tire?
If you just go to Google and type in how old are my tires, it'll give you several different ways, several different sites, because there's tons of them out there that have gone through this. Because most guys say, well, don't run them if they get over 5 years old and that, and the other, and yeah. But in your case, if you're just going to run around town, I'd say, what, keep running them. Don't worry about it. But going on a long trip, the last thing you want is a dead tire on the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's keeping you away from disasters.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling. We appreciate it. All right, let's go to a quick break. We're all caught up. We'll come right back. We'll talk to Ed and Greeley about some MPG questions that he's got, and I've got a blank screen on my other caller because I think Larry's just queuing it up right now. So we'll get that handled through the break. I'm your host, John Rush, KLZ The Source, 560.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair.
He has them on hold right now.
Anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
You put up with enough squealers. That annoying coworker? Squealer. Your kids fighting? Squealers. And that rat, Billy Parker, in the 5th grade. Big time squealer. So don't take squealing from your brakes. Get up to a $50 rebate Visa card on qualifying brake purchases. $50. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. And participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at genosautoservice.com. That's genosautoservice.com.
Your car performs better when things are simple. And it's easy to see how the maze of plumbing under the hood can slow it down. A K&N AirTake system replaces the maze with a single custom engineered tube. The result? A guaranteed increase in horsepower, a dramatic increase you can actually feel. Visit K&N website to look up the extra horsepower available for your vehicle. K&N, an American manufacturer since 1969.
All right, Matt's got some good music playing for us. Appreciate all that he does for us also. He's new to us, new to KLZ, but he's doing a great job, and we hope we're training him right here. So shaking his head yes. So, yeah, we're doing good. Larry's on the phone in there talking to some other folks. So we've got one. We actually have 2 lines full. We got 1 line open. Is all. Give us a call. We'll get that filled up and get you right on air, 303-477-5600. And let's go to Ed, who's up next. Ed, welcome. What's going on today?
I've got an 02 Sierra with a 5.3 in it.
Okay.
And I put a hydrogen generator on it to try and increase my fuel mileage, but it doesn't appear that the computer is reading the extra gas because I haven't got an increase in my MPG.
Nor will you.
Nor will I.
Nope. I did one of those once. It's the biggest hoax I've ever seen.
Well, I have known people that have run just off of the hydrogen, but they were the old carbureted.
Correct.
Also.
The problem is getting the computer to cooperate with what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
And if you can find somebody that's figured that out and made it work, awesome, because I've never seen it work properly.
Okay.
So, again, not telling you to take it off or do it. I mean, you can do whatever you want to, but you're going to spend a lot of time and effort trying to make that thing really work and increase your fuel economy.
All right. Well, if I find an answer, I'll call you back and let you know.
I'd appreciate it because, again, the biggest problem is getting the programming in the computer correct to understand everything that's going on. Because right now, you're not saving any fuel at all.
Correct.
In fact, the one we did, the fuel economy went down because the computer was so thrown off on what was going on, it couldn't compensate enough to make it work properly.
Okay.
Okay? Does that help?
Well, yeah.
Sorry. No. I'm sorry, but I'm just, you know me. I don't beat around the bush. I'll just give you exactly what I've found in the past, and some of it is by personal experience. And in this case, it was.
And there's so many other things you can do to your car to get mileage if you're looking for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you're driving an 02 5.3, the best you'll ever get on the highway, I don't care what you do to it, is about 18 miles to the gallon. If you do better than that, count your blessings.
Okay. Well, if I drive 65, I can get 17.
Okay. So you're not far off of my figure now. And what I mean by that is you can do, K&N cold air intake. You can do some exhaust modifications. You can make sure it's got a bed cover on it. Things along those lines. Also, bug shields kill fuel economy. Things like that people don't think about. Those things that actually hurt don't help.
I've done all 3 of those things, and I don't have a bug shield. So.
Good for you. Perfect. Good man. And you're not too far off of where even what I've seen as the best getting the 18. So you're not far off of that. The other thing too that affects a fuel economy on those a lot is what gear ratio the truck has.
I was thinking about, would it be beneficial if I change the gear ratio in it?
What is in it now?
I don't remember. I think it might be 373.
If it's 373s, what tire size are you running? The 265s?
I'm not sure.
If you're doing 373s with 265s, you're probably not going to change mileage much by changing gear ratio. If you're down into a 342 or lower ratio, you might be able to actually step up. Believe it or not, you could actually step up numerically, which gives you a lower ratio and actually help fuel economy.
Okay.
Okay. So I tell you what, why don't you look all that up, either send me an email or call us back, and I'll walk you through that.
All right.
All right, Ed. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it very much. And hated to be the bearer of bad news there, but we did one of those kits one time that a customer had brought it in. It just never worked. No matter what we did, you could not make the thing work. The computer was just so, we finally had to just pull it back off to make the truck run properly because it throws so much stuff into what the computer's trying to read. It just can't compensate. It just doesn't know what's going on. So, all right, let's go to Lewis, who's up next in Erie. Lewis, welcome. What's going on today?
What's happening, boys? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I have an 08 Touareg, and it needs brakes.
Okay.
And I've taken it to the dealer, and they were almost $2,000. I took it to a brakes place, and they came in at $1,200, but it was not original equipment, rotors and pads.
Right.
What's your take on either original or going with aftermarket?
Well, real quick, Ray, does Napa Do you know if they
I'm not sure if Napa has the Adaptive One brake pads for that vehicle.
I tell you what, real quick, let's do this. I've got another caller on the line. We're going to look it up real fast. So tell you what, Lewis, hang tight. I'm going to put you on hold for just a second, answer one call. Ray's going to look it up, and we'll come right back to you. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, hold tight real quick. We'll come right back to you. So who's up next, Matt? We've got I show Freeman, but I think Larry's on the phone. I still show line 1 on hold with nobody. Robert's on 1. Okay, great. We'll just take him real quick. Robert, welcome. What's going on today?
Questions. I got a 2011 Challenger with a 5.7 Hemi.
Okay.
During the winter, I put a Borla exhaust on it for performance and stuff. So I only drove it a couple times during the winter when it was nice. My mileage dropped down by about maybe 2 miles per gallon.
Okay.
So I figured, well, it's probably the computer hasn't adjusted to, the new exhaust. So then I went to California, came back, and going to California, a couple of different areas, I was getting 30. And then coming back from Frisco to Thornton, I was getting 35.7. And that's by the computer, I understand. And I know the computer's usually off by a mile or two.
Okay.
But by the time I got home, it still said 35.2. And anyways, I was telling the Dodge dealer about it, and he says, that's unbelievable. Get that. And prior to that, when I went to New Mexico, I pen and paper, I got 26.5.
Okay.
And it was off by, like I said, a mile or two, so I was like 28 or 29 before. And so they asked me how I was running on heat, and I told them 250, but when I was looking at 250, that was like going up hills and going into fifth gear instead of sixth gear.
Got it.
And he thought that was a little high, and he was worried about possibly, having it heat up too much and causing, I guess, some kind of pitting or something. I don't know, the cylinder walls or something. But he was saying maybe contact Borla and go on some kind of forums to see if anybody's ever had that happen. And now that, I'm driving normal again, my normal mileage has always been probably 21, maybe 22 miles per gallon in it. And that's about where I'm at now. So I'm wondering, is it just maybe the computer didn't settle itself down from California, or I know, computers can be wrong, but I can't believe it'd be that far off.
Well, and I typically the onboard computer is pretty accurate when it comes to fuel economy on these later model vehicles. It does a pretty good job of estimating, not estimating. It knows how much fuel you've used. It knows the level in the tank. It knows how many miles you've driven, etc. The only thing that throws those off is if people go out and change tires, change gear ratios, things like that. Then, of course, the computer doesn't have a baseline to start with, and then everything is off from that point. The heat side of the fence is probably more of a concern than anything else, and I'm trying to figure out why, because typically putting on the open exhaust is not going to make the engine run any hotter.
Yeah, because he thought it was burning lean maybe, and I'm like, well,
the computer's going to adjust for that with the O2 sensor and the mass airflow sensor up front anyway, so no, that's not the case. The only time you can really get some major changes to the fuel mixtures if you go and change anything on the intake side of the fence. So superchargers, turbochargers, different injectors, things like that. Changing exhaust, no. The computer has enough ability and enough smarts to compensate for that. So no, I don't care what the dealer said, he's wrong.
Yeah, and plus the fact that it's after the cat probably when you did that, and your O2 sensors are forward.
That's exactly
so
right.
They're not gonna sense that.
Okay, because that's what I was wondering, because what I ended up doing is I did an experiment also, is I used premium all the way out to California and then regular all the way back. And
got it.
The better mileage was coming from Frisco to Thornton at 35.7, and like what you're saying.
Got a lot of downhill there too, though, which helps you.
Right, but I would think about Wadsworth and I-70, it'd kind of flatten out a little bit.
Yeah, true.
And then, the other thing too is the gas tank looked correct, like what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it was about right for 35 miles per gallon.
Okay.
And then, the heat gauge, the actual gauge, showed about, where it should always be, right in the middle.
Okay.
But then when I went through the computer, I just happened to catch that it showed the temperature in digital display.
Got it.
And I'm assuming 300 would be, crazy, but I'm.
Yeah, I mean, even 250, 260 is getting to a point where you want to start really paying attention to it. But if it didn't climb anything above that, even on a long, hard hill, I don't think I'd worry about it.
Okay, because that's what I was worried about. Because when he told me, well, I think I'd worry about you.
No, I would take everything he said and not worry about it. Sorry.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it. Okay, Lewis, sorry. We guys were up against a break. Freeman, I know you're also on the phone. We've got one line open as all. Lewis, you will be first up. I know you're listening to us. Hang with us. We're going to have answers on your Touareg as soon as we come back. Nobody go away. Stay with us. News is up next. We're going to be right back right after that. This is John Rush, your host, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
Have you heard about the latest scandal? Brave men and women who risked their lives to preserve our liberty have been on a long waiting list for government-run health care through the Veterans Administration Hospital Program. So many aspects of this story are disturbing, but they all point to the need for we as Americans to stop depending on government to solve our problems. This Sunday, join me, Dr. Jill Vecchio, and my fellow Americhicks as we discuss real free market solutions that can get our veterans the health care they need right now and in the future. This will be a very special show that you're not going to want to miss. So tune in this Sunday to Heart of the Matter on this Crawford Broadcasting Station, 4 to 6 p.m.
This is the legendary KLZ, AM 560, KLZ HD Denver, and online streaming at 560thesource.com. Since 1922, KLZ Denver.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm Ken Stevens. Kansas Republican Tim Huelskamp on MSNBC. Not real impressed with the president right now.
The president actually gave Mr. Shinzeki a verbal presidential medal of honor, but there's huge problems over there, and there's some pretty strong solutions that we need to implement immediately to fix this problem.
Huelskamp is calling for an independent reform commission free of bureaucrats to do a top-to-bottom overhaul of the VA. And the American Legion weighing in on the VA chief's resignation. Here's the Blaze Radio's Kay Long.
And a few minutes ago, Secretary Shinseki offered me his own resignation. With considerable regret, I accepted.
Reaction to the resignation is swift. The American Legion's Verna Jones saying the door should be open to criminal charges for administrators involved in the waitlist scandal.
Our national commander has said that the investigation needs to include every VA employee who was a part of that scandal should be investigated and prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to the Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming, like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The Blaze Radio News on KLZ 560 The Source.
The Jason Lewis Show, weeknights from 7 to 10 on KLZ 560 The Source.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
The Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
All right, we're back. Thanks for tuning in. Drive Radio, KLZ 560 The Source. I'm your host, John Rush, along with Ray Seidel, Dennis Brewster, and we left Lewis really on hold from a caller earlier, so before I even do any announcements, we'll just bring him back up. So, Lewis, thanks for holding on through the news with us. We appreciate that very much. You still with us?
Sure am. Thank you.
All right, so we did some research through the last caller and even through the news, guys. What did you find out?
Well, and again, I went through the Napa Proling site and looked to see what they had. They do have, they don't have an adaptive wand pad for your Tureg, so that's, to me, that would be a dealer comparable pad. They have, the UPs or the premium pads. They do have the rotors. The premium rotors, and they also have in the pads, they have what they call the original manufacturer, as far as, that's the pads that are in their Ultram line, where they have the pad that's going to be similar to what the dealer installs.
Got it.
But again, those would be special order, and I think the price is getting close to what you're going to be paying from the dealer.
Okay. So in your opinion, it's okay to do, not original equipment, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because they're not building their own pads either anyways.
Right. And sometimes when you use aftermarket pads and, rotors, if you don't get the highest quality, then you can usually build in some problems. You might have a little bit of noise problems, or you could have extra dust on the rims. But as far as safety and functionality, there isn't a problem.
No.
It just, again, normally they make noise. But again, you want to make sure when you do buy the rotors, you buy the highest quality of rotor.
And same thing on the pads, to Ray's point.
Yes.
Do it both ways.
But I mean, on the rotors now, it seems like everybody is selling a rotor, but it's, and that's their best rotor, but it's not really the best out there.
Okay. Is it true, too, that you have to replace rotors, that they can't resurface them?
I would say yes.
In your case, I would say yes. Yeah.
I mean, and the problem with turning rotors these days, the manufacturer's trying to cut the weight down to a minimum for better fuel economy, which means they don't put any extra metal on the brake rotors.
They used to come in kind of thick, is what he's saying. And now
so you can refinish them.
Right. Now they don't. It's like one cut and you're done.
Right. So when you refinish them, you actually remove even more of that metal, and there goes your heat dissipation. So usually you run into problems.
That's right.
Either warping of the rotors, or the pads wear prematurely because you don't have that extra metal to dissipate the heat.
Perfect. Well, great. Thanks, you guys.
You're very welcome, Lewis. Thanks for calling in and for hanging with us. And I think we'll wait on the Napa announcement. We've got a big event going down at our Napa store in Castle Rock. Give a couple of pointers real quick, and then hopefully they'll call back in during this hour, Dennis.
Yeah, he must be busy because he said he wouldn't be able to call in.
I'm sure he is.
But they have a full-size NASCAR simulator that you can get in there and win prizes by being the fastest and top three. That's why we're here, because they didn't want us down there winning that. So
actually, the top four.
Yeah. And then one of the giveaways is a 42-inch full-size toolbox, which would be really nice. They're serving hot dogs and hamburgers between 11 and 1. They also have where you can, if you put everything in a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket that you put in there, is 25% off. So pretty cool deals. I do know when you go down there, I just threw my notes away what I had. The address is Caprice Court. It's 165 Caprice Court. You can't miss it, because if you're going down the highway and you get off on Wolfensberger,
just take that next exit. Wait, basically, you said once you see the store, take the exit and circle back to it.
Yeah, basically, you just go up to the first light, take a right, and take a right again.
Awesome.
Pretty cool. You got to go down there to see the store. It's amazing. They got a lot of special deals going on. So
very cool. All right, so Freeman, you've been holding quite a while. Let's get to you next. What's going on today? Hello, Freeman. Freeman, are you there?
Yes.
Great. What can we do for you?
This subject here of top-tier gas.
Yes.
Is that saving on your vehicle, or is that giving you better gas mileage?
In some cases, it can do both.
Okay, that was what I really needed to know.
It's a higher. So everybody listening, top-tier fuel meets a higher standard for the additives that are put into the fuel, no different than oil or anything else out there. So the rule of thumb is all the gas companies start with the same basic formula of unleaded fuel, let's say. So in our area, let's say it's 85 octane. What they do as far as their add packs, detergents, etc., that go into the fuel is what separates one brand from another. And top tier set a standard for you'll have this particular formula, criteria, whatever you want to call it, that you're going to meet to be considered top tier, and that means it's got higher detergents, it keeps the injectors cleaner, it could improve fuel economy, so on and so forth.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering about. the saving on your vehicle, and that ethanol, that's a bunch of junk, isn't it?
Well, it's here. We're going to have it. It's hard to say how long we're going to have it. We have E10 roughly that's running around in our parts of the world here, and that's what they're using to help oxygenate the fuel so that you can get better emissions out of it is really why they're doing that. Do we need it? The reality is the cars run so well today that I would argue that no, we don't need it. It's just a subsidy program we've got going on. And again, that's another topic for my show during the week. I'm going to be starting at 2 p.m. every day. Call in, listen. We'll talk about those types of subjects, which are hard to do here because we're trying to help you keep your car running, maintained, and we don't just get into that kind of stuff. But during the week, I will, so listen then.
Yeah. And the ethanol has been around so long, and the manufacturers of tailoring the cars so they perform on it. So it doesn't really big deal. Like I said, with or without it, the cars are going to perform.
That's exactly right. I agree with Ray.
But the top tier is it will save on your vehicle.
Yes, because you're not going to have to do some of the injector maintenance that you would have to do otherwise, because it's keeping everything cleaner because it's a higher quality gasoline.
Okay.
All right.
Good. And let me see now. Costco
is top tier.
The other three.
Costco, Shell, Phillips, and Conoco.
Phillips
and Conoco.
Conoco.
And Shell.
Shell and Costco.
Right. That's the four in this area.
Which is a lot of stations in our area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you much.
You're very welcome. I appreciate it. And by the way, during the news hour there, and Larry, you're even earlier than that, we did a lot of calling around. So the fellow that called in earlier, I think Terry was his name, looking for the full synthetic 1540 weight, he was correct. That Arvada store does not have it. Multiple other Napa stores in the area around Denver do have it. So if you don't find it there locally in Arvada, look around at some of the other, go to Wheat Ridge, go to wherever. There's a lot of other Napa stores, even Broomfield, Boulder. I mean, you've got tons of areas you can drive around in. Thornton, you're not that far in Arvada to go to some of those stores, and a lot of the other stores in the area have that. So why Arvada's out of it, I cannot answer that.
Unless Dorsey bought it all up.
Maybe Dorsey bought it all before he went on vacation. Make sure his guys didn't run out. It's hard to say. All right, line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'd love to chat with you. Anything you want to talk about. Ken is up next. What's going on, Ken?
Hey, yeah, I'm thinking about I'm going to replace an old Blazer that I've got, four-wheel drive, and I was looking at an Xterra and wondered if that's a good vehicle. I don't have any experience with Nissans and wondered what your opinion was.
It's a good vehicle. Yeah, nothing wrong with it at all.
Have you driven one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have. I've driven them on-road, off-road. It's actually a solid little vehicle. You can get their top of my head, I don't know what their off-road package is for that, but you can get that with locking diffs and all the bells and whistles to do whatever you want to do with the vehicle off-road, and yeah, it's a really good vehicle, actually.
Okay, that's good. Maybe I should take the plunge. I don't think I'm going to get a new one, but there seems to be a few of the older ones around that I might be able to afford.
So they've been a good, solid vehicle. I will not badmouth that one at all. They've worked well. Dennis is an old Nissan guy.
Yeah, I like the Nissans. You know, Ken, one thing I would recommend is our new guy that we have that does this, for if you want to just sit at your home, call him up, tell him what you're looking for as far as mileage, what year you want, what color.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, call Isaac Bouchard. He's with Preferred Auto Brokers, 303-475-1462, and he doesn't care that you're in Wyoming. He'll do whatever he needs to help you out. So just call Isaac, and he'll take care of you.
It's really cool because you tell him the color you want, what kind of interior, what.
If nothing else, just call him for advice, and he'll tell you what things are bringing price-wise, what you can expect, all those sorts of things.
That's Isaac, huh?
Yep, Isaac Bouchard.
Okay, good. Hey, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. Thanks much. Ray?
Oh, I'm just saying, what we got? Michael on the line?
Yeah, Michael Pelly's with us. So, Michael, you there?
I am.
All right, so give us an update. How are things going in Castle Rock?
Things are going good. We've been very busy. We got Jim out on the grill now, so we got hamburgers, hot dogs going.
You're making us hungry.
Yeah, I can almost smell them.
You bet. We got a lot of great giveaways going on. But yeah, it's been going well.
Awesome, good deal.
How's that NASCAR?
Yeah, what's the best lap time so far? Do you have that?
I don't have that. In fact, I've been helping out on the front counter. We've been so busy, so I haven't got a chance to.
Well, we kind of figured that, so that's a good thing. No, you're making money. That's what this is all about.
Yep.
You bet. But we've had a lot of guys in there checking out the NASCAR thing. The NASCAR guys say this is about as close as you get to a simulator.
Awesome.
Out there, so
awesome.
Good,
very cool.
Deal.
That's very cool. Well, we're glad things are going well. We'll keep sending folks down your way, and we had a guy looking for some synthetic 1540 weight diesel oil. I'm sure you've got it on the shelf. We'll have him come down and see if he wants to drive that far.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Take care, Michael.
And if he could put it in a 5-gallon bucket,
that's right.
25% off.
That's a good deal. You got it. All right, guys. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come right back. Give us a call. Lines are open. Doesn't happen at this time of the show very often. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. 303-477. 5600. I'm your host, John Rush. You're listening to KLZ 560, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each Colorado Select member currently offers Napa's Peace of Mind warranty, but are now also offering an extended 2-year or 24,000-mile warranty on repair work. You won't find this offer anywhere else. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-6272.
After 30 years of business, Gino's Auto Service is expanding. Hi, this is Jennifer, and my dad owns Gino's Auto Service in Littleton. What does our expansion mean for you? Savings on all our repair and maintenance services. We work on all makes and models, and your satisfaction is always guaranteed. At Gino's, we use genuine Napa parts and are AAA approved. Stop by and see the transformation at Bowles and Platte Canyon, or visit us online at genosautoservice.com. That's genosautoservice.com.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
All right, and we are back. 303-477-5600. Some lines are coming in, or some calls are coming in. Lines are still open. 303-477-5600. We'll get you right on air once Larry cycles through these. While he's doing that, one thing I wanted to mention, and those of you that you've been on YouTube, you've been watching me hold this vial of oil stock, base oil stock up, and I've been playing around with it here and looking at it and so on. And what's interesting is this vial that I have came right out of the refinery. And I asked you, hey, can I take a little bit of that back with me? And like, sure, we'll get you in a small bottle so you can get through airport security and all that, no problem. And they did. And this is exactly what they pulled out. So they pulled this out on Wednesday, basically. So this was a fresh batch they just yanked out. And what's interesting, I was telling the guys this through the break, is since they're using waste oil for their eco product. Now, this is not for all their regular products. Their regular products they can still use out of virgin stock, and they make full synthetic and regular oil, etc. But their eco product, which I think is going to get bigger and bigger, they refine their own waste oil, and they're controlling their waste oil tanks. So they don't just take waste oil from anybody. They take it from only people that they've done some testing with, and they know that they're going to have good quality. They're not going to have a bunch of junk dumped into the tank and so on. In fact, every load of waste oil before it's even picked up is sampled. It's determined whether they can use it in the refinery or it's going to have to get sent out to the burner market.
Right.
Then once it's brought in, it's sampled again. Once it starts into the refinery, it gets another sampling, and then all the way through the process until it comes out looking like it does here, which is totally clear. The key to this, which I didn't think about until I was there, is with all of the synthetic oils that a lot of people are now using, You know, the market's probably using about 30% synthetic. I don't know the exact numbers, but just to top of my head, I'm figuring about 30% synthetic and about 70% regular. Would you guys pretty much agree with that with your customer base?
Yeah.
About 30%.
Yeah,
so
maybe a little bit more.
maybe even more in some
with
cases.
With the dextrose, you know, the
That's
Chevy.
true. Dextrose is going to increase that. So here's the reality. The more these guys keep picking up their own waste oil and having other oils added in via synthetics, etc., the higher quality their re-refined oil comes back at time and time again, to the point now, it's so high right now. Let me rephrase this. These guys, and I'm not going to get into all the details of how you measure synthetic versus non-synthetic and so on, but they're basically one step away from a full synthetic product in their base stock with their re-refined product. Now, it's basically considered a semi-synthetic eco, so their eco oil is a semi-synthetic. And by the way, you're going to be able to start buying this at some of our local Colorado Select Napa Auto Care centers, Dorsey Johnson, for example, others. And some of the guys in the room here are going to look at this very closely because these guys have got a great product. It's great for our environment. It's great for your car. For example, their eco product, if you didn't want to spend all the money for full synthetic oil, you're still doing a great job with the economy, still have a very high quality oil. And away you go. So we'll talk more about that as we go through the weeks and months ahead. And they're going to start even calling in on the show, giving us some tips on just oil, different things, how far can you go on an oil change, all those different things we'll talk about. But great stuff out of Universal Lubricants. Really enjoyed our time there. And let's go to lines open, by the way, 303-477-5600. Let's go to Dell, who's up next. Dell, welcome.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Doing good, Dell.
Hey, you was talking about that lock on that ignition switch.
Uh-huh.
Toyota and Honda are your worst for them heavy keychains because of their configuration of the wafers. The Toyotas have two positions that are a split wafer, and that weight really wears on them split wafers and the key.
Right.
On the Hondas, the way they did their configuration of the design on their wafers is really cheesy to begin with. And they've had quite a bit of problems with ignition switches and had jamming up on them Hondas.
So your recommendation is like ours, only put the ignition key on the ring and call it good.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, I can rebuild them. I rebuild a lot of the Hondas and the Toyotas with new wafers and springs and everything. Normally the housing and the core of the lock, nothing really goes wrong with them. It's just them wafers.
Got it.
And the way they design
Got
them.
it. Well, that's a good tip. We appreciate it, Dell. Thanks for basically reiterating what we've been telling people for a number of years. So we appreciate those comments, and yeah, very, very true. And again, we're not trying to pick on folks, but I can remember being I'm still a dad, but I can remember having teenagers learning to drive. And at one point, I had one daughter that came in and it looked like I don't even know what you want to call it. I mean, this thing was dangling with junk off of it, like, I don't know what, it looked like you're trying to dress the thing up or something. I'm like, what in the world are you doing?
Well, if you can't take the key, and this is what I tell people, and hold it with your two fingers.
It's too heavy.
And just hold it straight out and just put about maybe a half an inch of the key in there and hold it straight out.
It's too heavy.
It's too heavy.
That's right.
Right. And so that's going against the
That's
numbers. Right. And you got to squeeze it really hard to hold it. You got a problem.
That's right. And again, some of this is because us old-time technicians remember some of the old GM lock cylinders from back in the day in Ford. I mean, this deal GM's going through is not the first time that's ever happened, by the way. They're just getting recalled with, the government and so on. And I don't know why. Again, that topic is for my show during the week at 2 o'clock. So, yeah, I'll put a plug in for that. Tune in, Rush to Reason, 2 o'clock daily. We're going to start on Monday. Some of you that are listening now hopefully will listen then. And by the way, I want callers. I'm not a lecturer. I don't want to just sit there for an hour and lecture people. I want to have interaction. I was thinking in my head the other day, I've lectured kids, employees, you name it. I don't want to be on air for an hour just lecturing. I want to have interaction. I want to talk to you, get some ideas of what we need to talk about on the show. And really the bottom line is, how can I help you put some reason into all of this junk that's going on around us on a daily basis, including things like the GM recall? How does that affect you? I was talking to one of the dealers the other day. How does it affect them? Right now it's affecting them greatly because people don't want to go buy a GM car. Now, again, that's a subject for next week. Tune in daily here on AM 560 KLZ. I'll be here 2 to 3 p.m. We'll talk about those sorts of things. Let's go to Frank, who's up next. Frank, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
My wife is looking for a used Subaru.
Okay.
Likes the all-wheel drive. We have an older one that I drive. It's running forever, a 96 2.2.
Okay.
When we look at these more recent models, it seems like every year in the reviews, almost up until current year with the 2.5, have a head gasket or potential head gasket problem. Is that true, or and if we find a used car,
That's not true for the later model ones. Now, some of the older Subarus, in fact, what year are you driving?
Mine's a 96.
Yeah.
2.2.
Those vintage years, yeah, I won't deny it, they had some head gasket issues, and the newer that they get in Subaru, the less risk of that you have happening. And they made some major changes in 2009.
I see.
Yeah, so it depends what year you're going after, but even if you have those ones that had the head gaskets, if they've been replaced, usually that's it.
Right.
You're done. You don't have to worry about it again.
Yeah, and
honestly,
depending upon the price of the car, I wouldn't steer away from one just because it has that problem. You just got to make sure you buy the car right.
Yeah, that's it. You use it to buy the car.
Right.
You just tell them, I'm going to have to get these head gaskets done. It's going to cost about this much money, and knock the price down that much, and I'll buy it.
Right. And again, it was usually oil leakage, oil seepage. It wasn't really the head super head problem. It did leak a little bit of oil.
And it didn't give it a driving problem at all.
No, it's just a matter of oil leak.
It's just a leak.
Is there a test that you fellows can do if we find one that we like?
Yeah, you look underneath the car and see if it's leaking oil.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just that's simple.
very
It's
simple,
not that difficult.
Yeah.
If they're leaking, you can see them.
You can see them coming out of the heads if they're leaking.
But Frank, I would have a used car check done on any vehicle I buy anyway. It'll save you in the long run because we can tell you if it's been in an accident and if they've done a good job maintaining it.
Exactly, all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I called John's in Boulder about one that I was going to buy, but the fellow sold it. So
Okay.
yeah, and they said just call.
Yep.
About an hour beforehand, they can do it.
There you go.
Everybody around town can do that.
That's how we'll do it. That's exactly right.
Okay, super. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Frank. Thanks for calling in. We have a line open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. And I did want to do some debunking. And again, I hate picking on other entities, etc. But it also drives me nuts when I see misinformation. So I see that I'm searching for topics for next week's show, and I'll just admit it. So I got an hour a day, so that's 5 hours a week. I got to have some topics ready to go in the pipeline, etc. So I'm looking around, and occasionally a little ad on the side will kind of pick my brain a little bit or grab my attention. In this case, it did, and it had a headline that said, "How to keep your car running past 200,000 miles." And I thought, okay, well, that's not part of that show, but what I do on Saturdays, it sure is. So let's see what this has to say. So I pull it up, and it's a video, and I think, okay, well, that's even better. Less thinking I have to do. I don't have to read. I'll just watch the pictures and see what happens. And so I do, and here's the 5 tips, and I'm going to, together, we're going to debunk each one of these. So they're in a service department someplace, and they're the names that are all behind this, and you go out on the internet, you'll find it's a local TV station here in town. They did this with one of the local dealerships. I'm not going to mention names, but sorry, guys, all of the information you gave was totally wrong. There's about one thing you talked about that may actually have some advantage to keeping your car running longer, but that's about it. So here's the 5 things they mentioned in this order. 1, oil changes. 2, air filter. 3, clean your injectors. 4, tire pressure and tread depth. And number 5 was an alignment. So those are your 5 tips to make your car run over 200,000 miles. You do all 5 of those, and you're going to get 200,000 miles out of your car, no problem. Right, guys?
I don't think that's going to work out. Yeah, you might get 5,000 miles.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, all the things they're
all important. Yeah, there's nothing there that's not important. But okay, let's debunk these. Number 1, oil changes. Okay, yeah, that's a given. And if you're not going to change oil, you're not going to drive 10,000 miles, not less 200,000. So that's a given.
That's probably the main reason that your car is going to go 200,000. Just like the guy with the 240,000.
That's right.
He was doing high quality oil and doing regular maintenance, checking everything.
The thing that the guy forgot to mention was he did say, check your owner's manual to see what the intervals should be, but then he forgot to mention that, okay, if you run a full synthetic with a high quality filter, you're going to make your engine last that much longer. so on and so forth. He didn't get in any of that, so he just kind of skipped over the oil change parts even, and went right to an air filter. Okay, if you get your air filter out, you check it yourself, you see how it looks, blah, 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 and I'm thinking, okay, well, that's great, and if it gets really plugged up, it may make the engine not run as efficiently, and actually, in this day and age, it doesn't even affect fuel economy, and there's a whole nother topic we can get into on all that. Everybody thinks changing air filter is going to improve fuel economy. Reality is it doesn't. In some cases, it might actually make it be worse. Yeah. I won't get into that right now, but no, changing your air filter will do nothing to make your car go 200,000 miles. Yes, do you need a clean one? Of course you do, but that's not going to make it last over 200,000. Cleaning your injectors. So he got this spray bottle out. This was the funniest part of the whole deal. He gets a spray bottle out, and he shows the reporter, he puts the fine mist, and he squirts, and he says, okay, I'm squirting this now, and this is exactly how the injectors are supposed to look. So what happens is when they get all clogged up from the fuel and this, that, and the other, and he opens it up like you would if you were going to shoot just a stream out, he says, when that happens, this is what the injectors now look like. And I'm thinking, well, not really. I mean, maybe, but no, not really.
Not really.
That's not what they look like either. And so, and again, will cleaning the injectors make your car, run over 200,000 miles? It may make it run more efficiently, and it may make, in that case, it may help with some fuel economy and some things along those lines. And decarbonating the engine, yes, that definitely helps, etc. But is it really going to get you past 200?
No.
Not really.
No.
Not in my opinion, it's not.
No.
No, again, unless they're really malfunctioning, but it's going to be running like crap, and then you get all the raw gas and stuff into the oil, which could shorten the life of the engine.
The tire pressure and tread depth was almost laughable. I mean, I guess if it was an all-wheel drive vehicle and tire pressure got way out of whack on one side or the other, and it was affecting how the all-wheel drive system worked, then maybe there's some validity to that.
Stretching that one.
But but I'm like, wait a minute. Is it important? Of course it is. Yes, keeping tire pressure at its peak where it needs to be. Yes, and checking tread depth to make sure you have good tires on it just for our conditions we have here with snow, ice, rain, etc. Is that important? Is it safety? Yes. Is it going to make the car go 200,000 miles? Absolutely not. No. You can run bald tires for the 200,000 if you wanted to. It's got nothing to do with getting over 200K.
Right, I agree.
Lastly was the alignment, which, again, is it important? Yes. Is it a maintenance item? Yes. Is it going to make the car itself run over 200,000 miles? Absolutely not.
Yeah, again, if the alignment is bad or out of specs, it's going to wear the tires. It's not going to make it last any longer.
Correct.
And I don't think even it'd have to be way out of alignment to start doing parts wear.
Precisely.
You can actually tweak these to make it sound like more to help you get better mileage.
Yeah, it's
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, but not to help you.
Yeah, and in fact, most of these kind of fit that more than it does making a car run over 200. So maybe the guy at the dealership actually had all of his stuff right, and the news agency just put the wrong title on it. I don't know. Either way, they didn't communicate on what they were talking about because it was way off of what they were advertising it as. That's my point. It's like, don't believe everything you read and or see because it may not be accurate. Go to the experts and figure out exactly what's going on. And by the way, when it comes to your car, we're it. Matt, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We've got some callers coming in, 303-477-5600. And we'll get you right on air when we come back. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.
Have you failed an emissions test and don't know what to do? Have you been trying to fix it yourself? Arvada West is your answer. We score 100% on our success ratio. That's confidence for the customer. We are always willing to explain the repair process to you. We use a proven diagnostic format that we have developed since the emissions program began here in Colorado. For an honest, understandable, and reasonably priced diagnosis, stop by and see us. We've helped clean our Colorado air since 1981. Call Arvada West Auto and Truck 303-422-1065 or see us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. If you would like to stop by to make an appointment, we are at 11752 West 64th Avenue.
Have you ever wished there was a place you could take your car, put it on a lift, and work on it yourself? My name is Craig Wallace, owner of DIY Auto Repair Shops. We have the lift, the tools, and the expertise. We offer a multi-tier program that allows you to do it yourself, technically assisted, or we can fix it for you. Check us out online at DIYAutoRepairShops.com or give us a call at 303-429-4000. Again, that's 303-429-4000. Let us know you heard about DIY on Drive Radio, and you'll receive 50% off your first DIY hour. We look forward to helping you succeed repairing and maintaining your car.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
All right, we're back. Thanks for tuning in. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source, and along with Ray Seidel, Dennis Brewster. Appreciate everybody's called in. About a half an hour of the show left, not even that much. So really about 25 minutes of the show left is all today. Call us, and we'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. And we always kind of have this little lull we have here the last few weeks between about 12:15 and 12:30. There's a little lull. I think everybody eats lunch or does something. And then about 12:40, it jams up, and we can't get everybody in until, we just can't get it. So call us. We'll stack them up. We'll get as many in as we can before the end of the hour. Paul is up next. Paul, what's going on today?
Hey, I just wanted to give you guys an update. I've been concerned about an old 93 Jeep Grand Cherokee 6-cylinder, the 4-liter engine.
Okay.
Performance issues. And I talked about initially replacing the whole engine, and a friend of mine had said, well, wait a minute. When's the last time you did the simplest, cheapest thing?
Right.
Just a fuel filter. And then check pressure and volume, and then move to the injectors and, see if everything there is working before you go out and buy a $2,000 engine.
Right. Right.
Well, incredible thing was I did the pressure and volume test, and it was so low, I was actually surprised the engine ran.
Yeah.
Changed the fuel filter, everything went right back to spec.
Cool.
And it runs like a charm.
Good for you.
So
yeah, that's a great example of keeping the maintenance up is one of the keys.
Yeah, when you're 170,000 miles beyond wherever that fuel filter should have been changed,
I'm surprised it still ran at that, to be honest with you.
I was shocked. I actually couldn't believe the thing actually would even
I'd be shocked also, so don't feel alone in that one, because I would feel the same way.
But that's exactly what we talk about on maintenance side.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So just
good stuff.
Good. Have a great day.
Good tip. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Paul. That's awesome. And
you couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, I know exactly. And I remember his call from a few months ago. So yeah, appreciate that very much. Let's go to Mike. We have a line open, 303-477-5600. Mike, what's going on today?
Hey, I have a 2003 Ford F-150. There's an idle issue. Like when I'm idling, it'll spike up and down.
Okay.
I've replaced the idle air control valves, and that didn't fix it. I've checked for vacuum leaks, and I couldn't find one. Don't know what else to do.
Have you had anybody look at it with any kind of diagnostic equipment to determine, what's going on, why it's hunting, etc.? You could have a vacuum leak. There's all sorts of things that could be creating that.
Right. I plugged it into. I have a diagnostic tool, and it said like bank 1 and 2 are lean, and that's all it came up with.
Which means it could have a vacuum leak. That's another indication.
Some of those Fords actually, what they have is an internal vacuum leak in the upper plenum.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the plenum is phenolic or plastic, and they have a rubber O-ring, and they kind of warp or they don't seal. So with the 171, 174, bank 1, bank 2 lean, that's usually the first indication. And sometimes when you spray or check for that vacuum leak, you won't catch that because it's internal.
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I did. I sprayed to check for the vacuum leak.
Right.
Nothing popped. Okay.
Again, if those haven't been replaced recently, that's a good maintenance item, because usually you're going to have to replace them in that 70,000, 80,000 miles.
And you're at that stage already. If it's got any kind of miles on it at all, you're 12. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you haven't done it, I would do that first and then see if that fixes your problem. The other thing is make sure when you replace that idle air control that you cleaned out the carbon in the passage.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Because, I mean, if the passage is restricted, then you're not getting
That's
the
not getting the
volume
airflow
of
you
air.
need.
Yes.
That's right.
So that's another thing you can do.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
You guys have time for one more question?
Sure, go ahead. You bet.
2008 Ford Expedition EL. Another idle issue when you're just sitting in drive, stopped at a light. After about 30 seconds, there's like a vibrating and a light grinding noise that kicks in. I don't know if it's a belt, but I mean you can't even hear it if the radio's on. But I have no clue what that is.
And is it? You think it's? I mean, two questions. Is it a rotating noise coming out of the engine, or do you think it's something that's rubbing the firewall or something along those lines?
That could be the firewall.
Because I've heard, I've heard lines, hoses, things like that rub on firewalls and make what you thought was something actually coming out of the engine, but it was just a. And one of the ways to kind of check that would be to power brake, stop, power brake the engine, and see if you can get that noise to replicate, and then kind of determine from there where is it coming from.
Is the AC on? Do you know?
Not all the time.
Okay, so
with or without it.
Okay, with or without.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So just try the power brake thing and see what happens.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Let's go to Stacy up in Cheyenne. Who's next? Stacy, welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great.
Did he explain to you my problem, or you want me?
Nope. You need to explain it to us so the other listeners, can also hear it.
Big 10-4. Okay, I got a 2000 Dodge truck. It's in immaculate condition. Looks like a brand new truck.
Okay.
It's a 2000 Dodge 1500 V mag 4x4.
Okay.
Only got 77,000 actual miles on it.
Wow.
And I have got steering problems with it. It steers pretty easy, Steers okay, but I think the terminology used is it does not track well.
Okay.
It's constantly steering it. It'll go to the left, and you correct it. It goes to the right, and you constantly.
You're always working the steering wheel to keep it in between the lines.
Exactly. You take your eyes off the road for 1 minute, you're somewhere else.
Yep.
And the guy, I took it into a place, they did a lot of work on it. They lined up the front end, they put a new steering box on it. I think they might have put a used steering box on it. I don't know.
Okay.
But what do you think my problem is?
It may very well be the steering box. If they put a used box on it and somebody...
I don't know if that's a guess on my part.
Well, and here's what you need to look at. There's several things in those Dodges that are really important. At 77,000, you shouldn't really have any major issues. But if, for example, the steering box gets replaced and or over-tightened, a lot of technicians I've seen over the years feel like, for some reason, I've even seen wrecking yards do this, where they'll sell a used box and to make everything feel nice and tight, there's an adjustment on the box. They'll tighten it, but they get it too tight.
Yeah. Right.
And they do that to make you to make you think you're buying a really good, strong box. And they'll over-tighten it, and then you get the same condition that you have now when that happens, because there's just too much resistance inside the box, because there needs to be a certain amount of play in the sector and the worm gear to make things work properly.
Or they don't know how to adjust it properly.
Correct.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's right.
I took it to a place, and it had a great reputation. I mean, the guy was highly recommended, and so I thought I was going to the right place.
Well,
and
you may have been, and it may be that they may have just missed a little something. My recommendation would be get back to that shop, have them go for a ride with you, show them exactly what you're experiencing, and then and then go from there. And the other thing that happens on those is it's really critical on those Dodges to get the camber and caster settings just right, or they will not drive correctly.
Well, I think they did all that. They put it on the ticket anyway. But, I took it back. I went back in and I told the guy that, hey, it's doing the same thing. Because I mentioned the thing about the steering, when I went in there.
Right.
And the guy wouldn't even hardly make eye contact with me. So it's no sense of me going back there.
It's time for a second opinion.
Yeah. And you know what? Don't leave out the back and the differential, because I've had one where there's these pins in the back. It's supposed to pop right in, and we had to loosen up the leaf springs and the U-bolts back there, and it popped right back into place. That differential wasn't
lined up.
It wasn't in the right place.
Well, and here's again, and we talk about this a lot on the show. There's a difference between an alignment and just somebody getting it in the green.
Yeah.
And even though it might be a really reputable shop, you know, they could have had somebody new doing the alignment. Who knows? Alignment machines can get out of calibration sometimes. Sometimes the heads aren't set exactly right, and the machine's only reading how well the technician sets everything up. Right, guys?
Right.
Yes.
So if you don't get everything set just right initially, your readings are going to be off across the board.
Like what he's saying.
The guy's got a beautiful shop, and there's only 2 guys working in it, and they've been together for a long time.
Shouldn't be a problem, man.
Yeah.
I think. What do you think about taking it to the dealer, the Dodge dealer?
Yeah, and you know, and up in Cheyenne, we don't have a Napa Auto Care Center that's a part of Colorado Select up there. Our closest one to you is going to be down in Fort Collins 4x4. If you want to drive that 40-mile trip down, go see those guys. They'll help you.
Well, if I got to leave it, that that's a big problem.
They can probably do it while you wait. Call those guys up there, talk to Ross, and see if they can't help you. I guarantee you they'll help you get that truck straightened out. And Ross drives a Dodge, so he knows all about those trucks.
What's the name of the place again?
It's Fort Collins 4x4 up in Fort Collins.
4x4. Do you have a phone number?
I do. It's 970 482 5500.
5,500. In other words, you talk like you don't think the dealer up here, they got the
I just don't know them, so I can't vouch for them because I don't know who they are.
And not because they're a dealer doesn't mean they have the guys that know these older vehicles. They might know the new ones, but they don't know the older ones.
That's right. So I can't vouch for them. I just don't know them.
Exactly. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Stacy, for calling in. We appreciate it very much. We got one line coming in. 2 lines open, 303-477-5600. We got 15 minutes of the show left. Actually, less than that. Call us. We'll get you right on air. And we're going to go take a quick break. I'm your host, John Rush. Drive Radio, AM 560, KLZ, The Source.
Reliability. It's what every driver wants from their vehicle. Regardless of make or model, you want your vehicle to take you where you need to go. Reliability is exactly what the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers offer. They've set the standard for excellence in automotive repair and maintenance. Each member offers Napa Auto Care Peace of Mind Warranty, along with the highest level of customer service and integrity. To find a Colorado Select Auto Care Center near you, log on to drive-radio.com or call 303-546-NAPA.
You put up with enough squealers. That annoying coworker? Squealer. Your kids fighting? Squealers. And that rat, Billy Parker, in the 5th grade. Big time squealer. So don't take squealing from your brakes. Get up to a $50 rebate Visa card on qualifying brake purchases. $50. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
Having transmission problems? Stop by Larry's Automotive today. We're your only Colorado Select Auto Care in North Denver that also specializes in automatic and manual transmissions. We're a family-owned small business taking care of your family-owned fleet of cars, trucks, and SUVs since 1994. We specialize in transmission and drivetrain problems and offer a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. We're also an ATRA member. Call us at 303-427-2108 for an appointment or find us on the web at coloradoselect.com. Larry's Automotive, a proud member of Colorado Select Auto Care.
I'm going to teach you right now how to find a good, honest mechanic. Ask about the warranty. Their warranty will tell you everything you need to know because their warranty is their word. And Colorado Select Auto Care Centers all offer the best warranty in the state. 3 years, 36,000 miles on every repair. Always select a Colorado Select Auto Care Center at coloradoselect.org. 3 years, 36,000 miles. It's all you need to know.
All right, last segment of Drive Radio. And I swear it's the fastest 3 hours of my week ever.
Yeah.
Every week, as it just rolls by, especially when you guys all call in like you do. And it's been a great day. We appreciate it. And, yeah, we have great listeners, great show. And we really thank everybody. Lines are full. As soon as somebody drops off, we'll get you on as quick as we can before the show ends. 303-477-5600. Rob is up next. Rob, welcome. What's going on?
I got a 2000 Tacoma 4.7 automatic. And it's got a push bar and a bug shield both on the front of it.
Okay.
Is that why I'm only getting 15 miles a gallon with my foot barely touching the gas?
That's part of it. That Tacoma ought to do a little better than that, but you won't get much better than about 16 to 17 with a Tacoma.
Just Tundra, but
Or
yeah.
sorry. I wrote down Tacoma. I meant Tundra. Yeah, I mean that Tundra, that big V8 just won't do much better than. Now, I have, even personally, I've gotten 17, 18 miles a gallon on one of those, but it's all stock, nothing on the front, nothing hindering the wind, etc. And yeah, you can get 17, 18 if you really do it right.
It's just killing me. I'm going through $85 of gas a week.
Yeah, those, and I love Toyota, love their products, but those are not great on gas mileage.
My buddy's driving that 2000 Chevy with the 350. He's getting 20 in the city.
Yeah, and he might be lying to you because he's probably getting more like 16 to 17. He can get 20 on the highway, but he's not getting 20 in town. I know because I own some of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's fudging a little bit on that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it. Sorry, guys. I just know.
This is like the fisherman, right?
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's trying to brag about what their mileage is. You're not getting 20 in town. Sorry, guy.
27.
You come prove that to me because that ain't happening.
And if you want mileage, the thing is you can't drive a 4x4.
No,
or a truck because you're up in the air and everything else. If you want mileage, go get a little car, 2-door.
Well, speaking of which, and this is a good segue. I appreciate Dennis doing this. We do a lot of new car reviews, which, by the way, you can watch them all now on YouTube. Go to our website, drive-radio.com. Look at the new car reviews. I've got the links. They're embedded, so all of our videos are embedded in the reviews. Just go watch them. I've got several we've just put up recently. I'll have one for you next week, which, speaking of this particular topic, I've got the EcoDiesel Dodge, the 1500 with the V6 diesel. I'll let you know what it's like next week, but so far I'm at 22.8.
Wow.
They're supposed to be 25, 26, so we'll see. So I'll let you know by the end of the week where I'm at, but...
my point is if you want to get 35, 40 miles a gallon...
You can't drive a truck.
You can't drive a truck,
right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to
Don't
Bill.
try it.
Let's go to Bill up in Boulder, who's next. Bill, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I've got an F350 diesel.
Okay.
And the shocks on the front have been changed, but I can't tell you when.
Okay.
The rear shocks are OEM, and the truck's got 177,000 miles on it. But none of the shocks are leaking oil or anything. So do I have to be concerned about replacing the shocks?
Yes.
Yeah.
The rears especially. I mean, shocks have a lifetime no matter whether they leak oil or not. Everything internally is still getting worn out. The ports that the oil runs through, they're wearing every time the shock goes up and down. The ports are enlarging, making the shock absorber less efficient, if you would. So, yeah, over time, they're going to wear out no matter whether they leak or not. And the leakage isn't as big of a deal as it used to be because the seals are so much better. But, yeah, and if I were you, I'd put all 4 new ones on it all around. And my favorite shock for that F350 or the Rancho 9000s.
Okay.
And you can buy those in Boulder at John's 4x4. Just go out there and pick them up and put them on it.
Okay, that leads me to the next question. I've had some bouncing in the front end.
That's why.
That's why?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That is why.
And it's something that just came on all of a sudden, and it seems to be in the range of 30 to 45 miles an hour.
Are you getting the wobble, too, out of the steering wheel?
Maybe. I can't say yes or no on that.
Well, and again, when you go out there, just drive out to Arapahoe, talk to the guys, talk to Craig or Ross, either one that are in there, and have them look at the vehicle, and they can recommend what shocks to put on it. But again, I'd put the 9000s on it. You can adjust those to whatever you're doing. If you're hauling, not hauling, etc., that's the way to go.
Yeah. Now, I had it in the Big O this morning, and I had them, they rebalanced all the tires and rotated the tires, and that seemed to help a little bit. The rear tires are running 85 pounds, but I normally have a camper on it, which I don't have right now.
And you could let those back down to about 60 with no camper.
Yeah. With no camper.
Yeah.
Probably in a week's time I'm going to put the camper on it.
Yeah, just leave them up then.
Yeah.
But then that's a nice thing about the 9000 series shocks, too, is you can adjust that for when you have a camper on it and when there's not one on it.
Oh, you can adjust the shock?
Yes, yeah, and so I don't, get into real depth. I've got 2 more calls before the end of the show. Yeah. Go to John's. They can explain all that. They've even got a little demo of the shock there. You can play with, see how it works, and yeah, they can walk you through that whole process and how that shock will help you out.
Okay.
All right, appreciate it, Bill. Thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Chris, who is next. Chris, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
that 2001 Ford Expedition, 207,000 miles on it. I got a couple of problems.
Okay.
There's a slight clicking in the front end, and it's clicking more than the rotation of the tire. I'm not sure if it's a CV joint or something in the four-wheel drive system.
If it's faster than the rotation of the tire, then it would have to be drive shaft related, not an axle relation.
Okay.
Because the axle is turning the same speed as the tire.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So if it's faster, it always has to be something in the drive line itself, not in the axle going out.
Drive line. Anything to look at particular?
Front drive shaft on that and the CV joint would be the first thing I'd look at.
Yep. Or, yep.
Because that's normal. That's a common problem on that.
Yeah. Going over a mountain pass is high altitude. It'll lose power and actually stall on me. There's a lot of pressure in the gas tank. Once I relieve the pressure and let it sit for a few minutes, it's ready to go. I do get a code 0442, which is a minor emissions leak. Replaced the gas cap. Other than that, I'm lost.
And how much power are you losing?
Well, it actually kind of stalls out. You know,
okay. And what's the fuel? Or sorry, what's the mileage? And when's the last time you've done a fuel pump?
Mileage now is 207,000. Last time I did it was about 150,000.
Okay, so it's only got 60,000 or so on it. That's not that bad for the fuel pump. That one's gonna have to be diagnosed. I can't.
Right.
That one's the top of my head.
Especially that code. Yeah.
Did they put a fuel filter in where they did the fuel pump?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
So yeah, again, you'd probably need to run a test on that.
Yeah, that one's got too many variables to just off the top of our head say go look here.
Right.
Okay. Any places in Lakewood?
Yeah, go see Ray. Ray, give me your number.
Four Seasons Automotive, 1801 South Wadsworth, 303-986-5202. Open Monday through Friday.
Thanks a lot, Chris. We're going to run right to Carl before we end the show. Carl, welcome. What's going on today?
Yeah, hi. I got a high mileage. It's an old Ford Forest wagon, 93.
Okay.
And I've been sitting for about a year. Went out this winter, started up fine. Tried to start it the other day, and it would not. I've got full accessories and, lights. And
So is it turning over?
No, it's not.
Okay, so no crank.
No crank.
Okay.
I wonder if you could point me towards a relay or something on that.
Check battery cables and connections and all of that first before you start worrying about any of that stuff. Because if it started over the winter and isn't now, it's likely a connection problem.
Or it could be a starter. I mean, it
could be.
It could be a starter. I mean, because the battery is fine. I cleaned everything up.
You can always tap on the starter with a little hammer in that year to see if it helps anything out. Right. And then, but again, check all connections first, too.
Okay.
Just because you've had time since it started last, it worked fine then, and now it's not, and it's actually warmer now than it was then, make sure connections are in good shape at both ends. And everybody always thinks we're just talking about the battery, but check connections at battery and down below at starter to make sure that everything is good, both ends.
And you might look for chewed wires.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah, look for rodents.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for the phone call. All right, with that, that's going to pretty much end it for calls today. We've got about a minute and a half of the show left is all, and we had several topics we did not get into, but hey, that's the way it goes. So keep talking. To tell the guys what they need, or tell the listeners what they need to do to go down to the Castle Rock Napa store and what all's going on down there, Dennis.
Yeah, why don't you, you got to run down the highway, I-25.
Correct.
And get down to Castle Rock there and go off on Wolfensberger and it's 182 is the exit. It's Caprice Court, 165. You can't miss it. Once you get in there, you just make the turnaround. They got a NASCAR simulator down there that will be amazing to see. They're giving away a 42-inch full-size toolbox to the winner, or prizes including it, I guess.
Awesome.
They have food till 1 o'clock, so you're about done. We won't be able to make it down there in time.
No, we won't be able to, but the listeners could. They're in the car already. So
the amazing thing is you go in there and get one of those buckets, and whatever you put in it, 25% off. So
great
you
deal.
Can get a 55-gallon of oil sitting in that little bucket.
Right.
You got it made.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. With that, Ray Seidel, Four Seasons, thanks for coming down and helping out. Always a joy.
Been a great show.
Very knowledgeable.
Yes.
Dennis Brewster, same. Thanks so much. Both these guys, Parker, Lakewood, and by the way, we've got shops up and down the Front Range. Check them out at coloradoselect.com. You can find all of our sponsors on drive-radio.com. Larry Unger on the other side of the glass from Larry's Automotive, Matt, our engineer. Keep listening to us, by the way. We're going to be on Haystack Help this Thursday, so that's from 4 to 5 p.m. I'll be on every day from 2 to 3 p.m. We may talk some cars sometimes, but the main goal there is to talk about things we don't get to talk about during Saturday's show. So call us, listen. Hopefully some of you from Drive Radio fans will actually transfer over and listen to us during the week. I would encourage you to do that, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it. So with that, guys, we're going to be out of here. We'll be back same time, same place next week. But again, I'll be back Monday. Don't shy away from listening to us at 2 p.m. on Monday. I'll be on air with you. And
if you missed this show, you can listen to it again.
Right. Podcast or tomorrow. Either way.
12 o'clock till what?
12 to 2 tomorrow. So you can see the last 2 hours of the show, or all of our shows are podcasted at drive-radio.com. So again, if you like what we do here, pay homage to our sponsors by using them. Go to our website, find them, use them. coloradoselect.com, they're our main sponsor. Get your car fixed there, diagnosed, maintained, you name it. Those are the guys to take care of things. With that, we're out of here, guys. Take care. God bless. I'm your host, John Rush. Drive Radio, KLZ 560, The Source.